here, which is good news because he was sick and remains sick. But to his credit, so I texted you like an hour before the show. Or you're like, I'm dying. I'm like, are you doing the show? You're like, no. I'm like, thanks for the heads up, you idiot. When I was completely prepared to do the show solo, because we have a few guests here today, and you were sick, and you were a trooper yesterday. You really were, because you sounded awful, and you looked awful.
I still don't sound great. I think
you look better, and you sound slightly better. I can tell that you slept.
Dude, so I passed out. For me, passing out around like 10 is
never happened.
Is kind of early. We were in bed by like 8:45 last night.
Early. I don't recall you ever sleeping at 10 o'clock. I've texted you 9 out of 10 times. So I text you at midnight. You'll text me.
Rarely is there ever an occasion where I go to bed earlier than like 10:45 or 11.
No doubt.
It's just not in the cards for me. Because I'm a
you go to sleep
natural
late,
night
you wake
owl.
up late.
Yeah. I still don't sound great. I still sound congested.
You sound awful.
I feel a little better. No, I know I sound awful.
Little nasally.
A little nasally. But I took a gummy last night and a melatonin.
Attaboy.
Dude, I was knocked the F out, bro. It was so great.
Dude, sometimes you just need rest.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, honestly, you know those days where it's just like, to your point, most people don't get like the 12-hour night if you're an adult, right? Like my 5-year-old, every night sleeps 12 hours. I'm like, how is that humanly possible?
Oh, it must be nice.
Yeah, exactly. But then you become 35, which Jim was for 5 years. You don't sleep 12 hours. But when you do get the 10, 12 hours, like there's nothing like that.
No.
Or you know the feeling too, because I don't know if you're like this. I get up usually in the middle of the night. At one point.
I did not get up last night.
That's the best.
Yeah.
Is that not the best? You go to sleep and all of a sudden you wake up and you look at your phone and you're watching. Wait, it's 8 in the morning. I slept for 10 straight hours or 11. That's amazing.
So I probably knocked out around 10-ish.
And then you said you got up like 9-ish.
And I remember the first time I looked at my phone this morning was about 9:40.
Machado had been traded. Like usually when you sleep in, like everything in the world has already happened. Machado wasn't.
Well, I had like 7 emails
from who
and 4 text messages. And I'm like, what the hell's going on? It's like work stuff and
work.
I don't know. It's just like it's like those emails they send out in the morning. They're just kind of like spam emails.
Yeah. So, well, it's good to have you. Let's see if you can make it until 6 p.m. We have a good show lined up here today. Do you realize that San Diego FC plays Sunday?
Oh, I do.
We've got the broadcaster for that match, Jake Ziven, MLS season pass. He's caught a lot of MLS matches in his career. This is an Apple TV production, right? We could get into that as well, but Jake's going to join us at 3:30. We have our Padres insider Kevin Acee at 4 p.m. There's been a lot of Padres news over the last 48 hours, and we have San Diego State's baseball head coach with us, Sean Cole, in the 5 o'clock hour. Their season just started within the last week. There was something that I think it was actually AJ Cassavell writing today at MLB.com about Luis Arraez that we wanted to start with. So Arraez this offseason, I think a little bit like a King or a Cease or a Suarez or a Cronenworth. Like there were some rumors circulating. Are they going to be able to keep him last year of a deal? Do they want to pay him what he's set to make in 2025? Would they like to extend him? What AJ Cassavell reported today is that there haven't yet been extension talks, but Luis Arraez is open to them. Consider the fact that Arraez has been on 3 teams in the last 3 years, essentially, right? Twins, Marlins, Padres. And, maybe he has found a home, maybe not. We'll see if the Padres have money for him in 2026 and beyond. So I guess my question for you, Jim, and for our listeners, 70470, start it with team, 877-767-4760. Is Arraez, like, where on your priority list would it be to lock up Luis Arraez for, let's say, 3 to 5 more seasons?
He's not above Michael King. He's not above locking up Jackson Merrill. I would say he's probably 3rd on that list, like of most realistic extensions. Dylan Cease he's gone.
Right.
The likelihood of Dylan Cease returning is very low. But I could see an extension for Luis Arraez, and I could see a possible extension for Michael King. At least I'm kind of like trying to speak that into existence. I want that. I really, really want that extension for Michael King.
Well, he just got it, remember? The big 2-year deal with the mutual option.
Yeah, exactly. And then the Jackson Merrill component, if he puts together another good season, then the conversation of like, what's this going to cost is going to be pretty prevalent next offseason.
Mm-hmm.
So I'd put him third. Where would you put him?
On the list of like what I would want to get done from an organizational perspective. Are you dying?
Yes, John.
Okay, I know.
Technically, we're all dying, John.
True. We're always
This
one
is
day
like
closer.
this is like speeding
beyond
up the
that.
process. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
For both of you.
Seriously. Somehow, I don't even know how to deal with this. Someone said, like, are you immune to Jim? I'm like, kind of. It's kind of like we're related. I spend more time with Jim than I do with Jones.
Right.
And I'm related to Jones. And I'm not related to you.
No.
Where would I put Luis Arraez in terms of an extension? Honestly, I wouldn't do it because I would prioritize Merrill and King so much that I know you can't get it all done. Like, there's no world, correct me if I'm wrong. Merrill, extension within the next 12 months. King extension has to come in the next few months, right? Or as a free agent. And Arraez extension would have to come in the next few months or as a free agent. Would you agree there's not a world where all three of those things are accomplished?
Oh, yeah, there's definitely a world.
So that's why I wouldn't even do it. Yeah. I mean, I liked Luis Arraez a lot. I do. I really enjoyed watching him play. But there's a reason he's bounced around, and there's a reason modern analytics say what they say. Now, I think he's of great value for the Padres. And the Padres, as we've watched over the last decade, at times struggle to score. I thought the fact that he's always on base and he was really good with men in scoring position last year for me, I don't care about anything beyond that. He's always on base. He was really good with men in scoring position. But I've said this before. You've heard me say this. The day he goes from a 318 hitter to a 289 hitter is going to be problematic. And maybe he's not. Maybe he'll be a 318 hitter from here on out. And maybe he's capable of doing that for the next 3 to 5 years. But it's a little bit of a risk reward. Are you going to pay him a bit of a premium, knowing that if there's any quote unquote down year in there, it's a black hole? Potentially. I love what I've seen. This guy is a brilliant bat on ball, ball on bat contact hitter. Brilliant. I love having him in 2025. I wouldn't move him in 2025. I just wouldn't prioritize it, I don't think, beyond that because I have other priorities.
But John, he drew a walk this spring.
I saw that.
In
BP. Yeah, he challenged the automatic balls and strikes.
We need to talk about that coming up in the show.
What do you want to talk about?
There was a tweet that I saw last night. Do you see me retweet it?
No.
Spring training content has got out of hand.
Yeah, that we're now like, look, automatic balls and strikes. It was a ball, and he challenged it, and it's a strike. Oh.
Spring training content. It's becoming worse and worse.
It's so bad.
It's guys, stop. Okay.
Did you tweet? I'm glad you tweeted about it. If spring training content needs a limit on what someone can and can't post. Is it? Oh no, it's a single. DJ LeMahieu.
No, but read it.
Okay.
Read the tweet. This is from a New
DJ
York
LeMahieu with a possible single off Sean Boyle.
And it's like a 4 hopper to second.
Let me see. No, that's a ground ball out. That's a double play ball. A possible single?
You're tweeting out possible singles
without fielders.
People are tweeting out in this town.
Warning track
power.
What's up, Ben?
People are tweeting out in this town. Luis Arraez do a walk. People in this town are tweeting out the most most like pointless content possible. Maybe I'm a curmudgeon now. I don't know.
Well, you always have it.
But man, I'm like, really? And this just makes me want to get to opening day even more so. We have to deal with 6 more weeks of this.
No, well, that's why things that actually matter. Is Luis Arraez going to be here beyond 2025? Is Michael King in his final year as a Padre? Is Dylan Cease all but gone after this year? Is Jackson Merrill going to get an extension? I think the answer most likely is yes, but when? And what does it cost the San Diego Padres? I mean, I just don't care about Jackson Merrill hitting a fly ball off Michael King.
There is nothing anybody could do on this Padres team in spring training,
in the backfields,
that I would truly, that's like cemented on the team that I truly would care about.
No, I'm fine within the game. Listen, if Ethan Salas in the second spring training game homers twice, that's great. That'll be great.
Yeah.
If Ethan Salas homers twice in Peoria against whomever, the Chicago Cubs, that's great. I mean, that's going to be decent content. Game content in spring training is a lot better than backfield content. Like, let's just get to. You're right. I think the games start when? Friday? Okay, so we're 2 days away from the Padres playing, but I'm with you. I'm not going to overreact to any of it.
No.
Now, I thought Merrill last year had a nice spring, and then he ended up having a nice year. There's no guarantee that happens, that someone has a nice spring and a nice year. But yeah, I'm all for it. If someone goes out and hits 480, that's a positive. If someone hits in spring training, great. That doesn't mean they're going to hit in the regular season.
Last year in spring, the biggest talking point was Jackson Merrill is going to make the team.
100%.
Now they gave him every opportunity, and they pretty much handed him the job.
And
but he still had to perform. He still had to show them something. He couldn't have a just awful spring training.
No, I think it was a good spring training, wasn't it?
It was a good spring training. And because of that, he made the Major League Club. I don't see any of that this year. I don't know if there's a player, unless it's Tirso
Or Nillis.
or Nillis, that's going to, draw the eyes of everybody in that Padres organization as a guy that potentially can make the team out of camp.
What about Leo Dallas DeVries? I'm kidding. He's like 14.
No. Leo Dallas DeVries.
He sounds older when you call him that.
So I thought when you were saying that to me, by the way, yesterday, I thought it was like Leo and his middle name was Dallas. We're just saying that's his first name, Leo Dallas. Just call him Leo DeVries. Right? Anyway, I want to see actually for a second what Merrill did, because people started getting excited because he actually did something in spring training, right? And I was saying, well, spring training doesn't mean anything. He had 333 last year in the spring.
Yeah,
so he was good.
Yeah, he had a really good spring training, and he deserved to make the club.
Yeah, he
and
did.
They gave him that every opportunity to. They carved out a lane for him, and then he went through it.
Ground running took off. I mean, he was good from day one, essentially.
But is there anything this spring that you're like keeping an eye on for the Major League Club? Like, what?
Their health.
That
only thing. I would rather have them all hit 0. Okay. Everyone, they are no hit in 27 consecutive Cactus League games. It wouldn't look great.
It would not be ideal.
But if they're all healthy coming out of those 27 no hitters, I'd prefer it to them going 20-7 in the Cactus League and Manny Machado missing 3 weeks.
Right.
Or Yu Darvish being shut down with a back.
Correct.
Like that. That's how meaningless it can be. Now, is there value in building pitchers up and getting guys to a point where they can be healthy and go through the rigors of a season? Yeah, I'm sure there are. But none of it matters, especially for a team that's trying to contend. It's like the Patriots back in the day in, what the hell's it called? Preseason football. I was about to call it spring training football. That'd be weird. They went 0-4 every year and they won every Super Bowl because it just doesn't matter. And it's not prioritized. And it's still not prioritized, obviously. Like the NFL is this monster. Does anyone care about the results of preseason games?
No.
And the NFL is a monster. And they only play 3 or 4 preseason games anymore. And now Major League Baseball is going to play what? The Padres will play what? 31 Cactus League games?
Oh my gosh.
31
that
with
many?
Split Squad. Yeah, I think so. They have 27 on MLB.TV or television, I think.
Who's the first person in this town to like really break down split squad games?
The name rhymes with Len Madden. Okay. I mean, that's good. I mean, that's fine. I'm excited for Friday as well. Until last year, this day, the spring training opener, Joe Musgrove didn't get out of the first inning.
And it was awful.
And it actually was bad. It wasn't great. And then he didn't have a great year and was shut down and had Tommy John.
Yeah, I think we've both been to spring training multiple times.
Correct.
Probably you more than me. Spring training is, for a fan,
I like it as a fan.
So fun to go to.
I like it a lot.
It is so much fun. You get with your buddies for a weekend.
It's great.
Get an Airbnb in Arizona.
Yeah.
Go to the ballpark, sit in the outfield, grass, and
right, but you're not breaking down like cutter spin rates.
No, and you can go like watch players in the backfields, and
yeah, it's great.
Probably get an autograph. Yeah, this is the closest you're going to be to these players probably all year long, right? You're not getting this kind of access at Petco Park. But other than that, like, you got to really, if you're covering this team, you have to really manufacture some stuff, on a day-to-day basis. And I mean, hey, maybe some people do like people just walking around and taking BP. But for me, I'm like, God, get to the games.
Yeah, March 27th. You know what's exciting to me? Jerks and Profor coming back with Atlanta, opening day, Petco Park, the importance of the first homestand, and seeing if this team is legitimate in 2025 or not. All right, Yuli Gurriel, the newest Padres signing that we touched on yesterday for a good portion of the show. He spoke to the media today, and he spoke about his relationship as well with Yu Darvish. Remember the offensive gesture we talked about yesterday from the 2017 World Series. You'll hear from Yuli Gurriel on the other side. Again, great guests today, including Kevin Acee, our Padres insider, at 4 p.m. We've got Aztec tickets for Tuesday night against New Mexico next week to give away. Don't go anywhere. It's Jon and Jim. Join San Diego Sports 760 and the San Diego Blood Bank in saving lives by donating blood at the iHeartRadio Blood Drive Friday, February 28th, 8 a.m. to 1:30 at our studios, 9660 Granite Ridge Drive. Your donation can help patients with cancer, severe burns, trauma, childbirth complications, and more. One donation could save up to 3 lives, and all blood types are needed. The first 50 successful donors will receive a pair of tickets to see Kane Brown March 13th, or a pair of tickets to see Kelsey Ballerini March 22nd at Pechanga Arena. Make your appointment today at san diego bloodbank.org/iHeart. Remember, Jim's wedding song was Kelsey Ballerini. Kane Brown.
Yeah, it was not. It was Kane Brown, bro, not Kelsey Ballerini.
I don't know. I don't know Kane Brown. Like, if he was here, I don't know what he looks like.
I don't know him either, but Aaron likes him.
But do we know what he looks like?
Yeah, I know what he looks like.
Okay.
Do you know Kelsey Ballerini?
I don't, but I would imagine is Kane Brown a male?
Yes, John.
And is Kelsey Ballerini a female?
Correct.
Okay. That's what I know.
All
I'm
right.
sure I've heard both of them. I mean, I heard Kane Brown at your wedding because you danced to Kane Brown.
Yes, there you go.
All right. So there's no easy segue there.
No.
Yuli Gurriel. Like, does it need to be prefaced? How long do we have to preface the 2017 offensive gesture? Plus, he said something. He mouthed something that's offensive as well. Like, how much of a story is that? It was 8 years ago.
Yeah.
And it was towards Darvish, though. I don't think it's a big deal if it's towards someone other than you, Darvish, 8 years later. But it was you, Darvish.
Yeah, I don't think it is something that we should continue to bring up every time we talk about.
It's like a 2 for 4.
Yeah, it's. I'm not going to say it's water under the bridge, but it's also not at the forefront of everybody's minds.
Okay.
At least it's not at the forefront of my mind.
Well, I was actually, when I heard last night, I'm serious. When I heard, Yuli is scheduled to speak with the media tomorrow, I'm like, I'm actually interested to hear what he says. Because I figured the most prominent talking point is you were suspended by Major League Baseball for being offensive, right? Disparaging towards you, Darvish, and others in the 2017 World Series. Do you have anything to say about that 8 years later? And again, that's a long time, but now they're teammates. This was Gurriel today. Now you're going to hear him talk in Spanish. You'll hear the translation as well. This is Yuli Gurriel today.
Obviously, some past history with you, Darvish. Have you been able to speak with him? And if so, what have those conversations been like? And does that feel like something that's all in the past for you too?
Bueno, pues obviamente la situación con Darvish, que si has tenido la oportunidad de hablar con él, y si has hablado con él, ¿cómo fue las conversaciones con él?
Bueno, él tuvo la posibilidad de que él viniera y me saludara, algo que de verdad que le agradezco mucho porque todo el mundo sabe lo que pasó en el pasado y es algo que no me enorgullezco, ¿no? Y de verdad que Dios y la vida me ha dado la oportunidad de hoy estar aquí y ser teammate de él, que es un gran atleta y un gran ser humano.
Yeah, obviously, with this opportunity to be here, you took the opportunity to come over and say hi to me, which I really appreciate, right? He's a great person, a great leader. So I'm really happy and grateful for the opportunity to be his teammate. And I really appreciate the fact that he came over and said hi to me. And I'm just happy to be in the same club as him now.
And that was it. And maybe that's it for the whole year. It's like asking someone, hey, what do you think about Shiel Seidler's lawsuit? I mean, you're not going to ask it every day.
No.
Hey, Manny, here are my thoughts.
Yeah.
And that's it.
The Shiel Seidler lawsuit is a story until it's resolved. But this to me was resolved. He got punishment for it. He went through sensitivity training for it. You Darvish accepted his apology for it.
Mm-hmm.
I know Dylan Hernandez wrote a piece about it in the LA Times back in 2017 about it and talking about the, cultural divide and the cultural misunderstanding that Yuli Gurriel has toward, in American culture, we viewed that as a very racist gesture. But to Yuli Gurriel, it wasn't viewed like that. And so you also have to say, Yuli Gurriel might not have understood at the time what he was doing.
Sure.
But coming off to me and you and everybody else, that is a very racial gesture that he was doing.
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah, exactly. I mean, I don't know the circumstances. Gurriel is Cuban, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, again, I'm not going to speak for Yuli Gurriel or come to his defense because things are different in Cuba than they are in America. At the end of the day, it's been 8 years.
Yeah,
I don't think it's a massive storyline or talking point? Do I find it a little interesting I'm bringing this guy in? Yeah, I do. If I'm being honest, I do find it a little interesting that they would bring him in with that history, because the reason I say it is AJ Preller, according to Schilt yesterday, called or spoke with Yu Darvish on 3 occasions. That's why I say it. If it was just like I'd completely buy it if someone's like, it was 8 years ago, and they're like, we didn't even talk to you about it. He accepted his apology 8 years ago, and nobody cared. But you talked to Yu Darvish on 3 occasions, like. Again, maybe at the end of the day, these guys will become like the best of friends, or maybe there's some value to be learned from it, 8 years later, or maybe it strengthens the bond in the clubhouse ultimately. I'm sure they can come to terms on what transpired. I also found it interesting in that clip. He's like, oh, yeah, he came up to me and said hi. I'm like, okay. So whatever. I guess it's the classic example of it is what it is.
And if Yuli Gurriel is hitting like 6th in this lineup, hitting 110, that to me will bug me
way more.
Yeah. This experiment with him probably won't last long. And if it does, that means he's playing well and good. But the odds of him making it through the entire year with the Padres organization, probably pretty low. It is a no risk, tiny reward signing. You're not going to get this huge reward out of Yuli Gurriel. The only risk here is you play him too much and he just does not do well. And by playing him too much, you play him 3 times a week or something along those lines.
They got a DH spot where he could DH a lot.
He could. Now, if he's producing and performs, okay. But if he's not producing and performing, then it's like, what are we doing here?
I guess my question for Preller, I guess it's a risk reward question, because they're not paying him anything. It's a minor league invite. If he makes the team, it's like $1 million. I guess my question would be like, why did you bring him in? What's the upside? Yeah, he hasn't hit in years. Last year he did anything was 2021. It's 2025. I guess any player.
He's 40 years old.
Yeah, he's exactly. What is the upside here? He doesn't cost anything. That's the upside, I guess.
They just don't have any first base options or DH options.
Right. Just gives them another one.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
I would have loved if they signed Justin Turner. But you're not signing Justin Turner for that money. And Justin Turner also wanted to go to the Cubs. So you're going to have to overpay, and you're not going to pay that much money, which is unfortunate. But if that's the only option you have is Yuli Gurriel for what you need, okay. Not great options then. Not many great options there.
That's a good point. It's a good point. All right. There is one thing I think we are semi-interested to at least see this spring training that we will share on the other side. Plus the Aztecs, another win last night, playing some of their best basketball of the season. What does it all mean with Selection Sunday? Now less than 4 weeks away. We've got Kevin Acee on the show at 4 p.m. Stay with us, Jon and Jim.
This update's brought to you by Staples Stores. We'll start with the Aztecs. Last night, they blew out Fresno State 83-60. Nick Boyd had 19 points in the win. Next up, the Aztecs take on Utah State this Saturday night on the road, 5 p.m. tip, 4 p.m. pregame right here on San Diego Sports 760. NFL news of the day. The NFL salary cap is set to increase by $22 million in 2025. Your local Staples has hot deals and super low prices throughout the store on everything for your businesses. And right now at Staples, save up to $250 off your print order. Exclusions do apply. Visit staples.com/print for details. Ends April 5th. Plus, save even more with the Easy Rewards program at Staples.
All right. You can be honest with me. You typically are. You are pretty honest.
Okay.
And for our listeners as well, you can be honest with us. You guys are typically pretty honest too. 877-767-4760 or 70470 start with T. Does anyone care?
No.
You're going to find this because I actually do. And I'm not kidding when I say it because I wouldn't lie. I wouldn't like just make this up. And because we touched on it briefly before and you're like, shut the hell up. The automatic balls and strikes, which will be in Major League Baseball at some point, maybe next year, not this year, are coming to spring training. Here's what it entails. Now, Jim doesn't care, and that's fine. I don't think most people do care, but we do spend a lot of time complaining about BS umpiring, do we not?
Yes, we do. Yes, we do.
We'll say this guy's awful
calls.
We'll tweet out the graphic at the end, like St. Louis plus 2.5 runs because this guy was awful. Right. So here's what they're doing. Each game, if this system's in place, okay, which is some spring training games, each game, each team has 2 challenges, okay? If you get your challenge right, you retain your challenge. And either the batter, catcher, or pitcher immediately after an umpire call, they say ball, I don't know what you do. You tap your helmet or hat or whatever, they immediately challenge it. If you're right, you keep your challenge. If you're wrong, you go from 2 to 1 or 1 to 0. So that's, I think, the future of Major League Baseball regular season games, the ability to challenge. It's automatic like tennis, where they quickly show where the ball is in relation to the court. They'll show where the ball is in relation to some type of automated strike zone. It will happen almost instantaneously. I think within 1, 2, or 3 seconds. The result is the result. The game will continue 1, 2, or 3 seconds after the challenge. Are you curious? Do you think it's advantageous? Do you think it's good?
Yeah, I actually do.
I think it's good.
I think it is good. I think if you do,
you could challenge 20 pitches in the game if you get them all right.
If you have, you can.
You know what I mean? If the umpire sucks,
right? If you allow only 2 times, you can be wrong.
You can only be wrong 2 times. That's right.
And I'm good with that. And if it doesn't stop the pace of game, and it's very quick, which it can be very quick,
3 seconds.
I mean, we can all see it on television.
It's pretty quick
because they have the little box up there. So we even see if it's a ball or strike.
That's a ball. Yeah.
So I'm cool with it because it seems like it can go pretty fast. It's not going to take up a bunch of time, and it could save some awful calls from being made. So I'm for it. Yeah.
All right. The league says a challenge actually takes 17 seconds to complete from the player asking for it to the video system being shown to the umpire then saying the result. Experiments in the minors showed an overturn rate of 50%. So the umpires are wrong half the time in those instances. On average, there were 3.9 challenges per game during minor league testing. So it's not like it's going to be every pitch because you only have, to your point, Jim, 2 challenges. If you get them wrong, you could be gone in the first inning. My strategy, if I'm managing in the major leagues and I'm Mike Schilt, like I'm not going down with 2 outs in the 9th inning on some BS call. Like I got to save a challenge if I can for like the 9th inning of a game.
It takes 17 seconds.
I guess from the batter saying he taps his helmet, that takes 2 seconds. They put it up on video, that takes 3 seconds. The umpire gets the result, that takes 2 seconds. I mean, maybe that's a little long, 17 seconds. I'm with you on that.
Because, like I said, we watch on television.
It looked quicker than that.
And
yeah, I got you.
It's like instantaneous.
We see it instantaneously. Yeah,
it's like boom, striker ball, and it lights up. It's like so
you want it a little quicker than that?
Yeah.
Like I think tennis is quicker.
Like 5 seconds.
Yeah, I think 5
like,
seconds.
Like, hey, challenge this. Is this a ball or strike? It's a ball. Like it should be that quick.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Not, hey, can you challenge this?
I think this is great. You know, I'm for more of it.
More than 2 challenges per team.
Game. I'm for expanding it. If we're not gonna hold the umps accountable for when they do horrible jobs, then we need this as a way to if I'm a player, to protect myself from bad umps making bad calls. It'd be one thing if, Joe blows the ump and after every game he goes,
I'm like, who?
Wait, what?
What happened?
Get your head out of the gutter, John. And he's the ump. And, after the game, they go through and they review him and they're like, yeah, you blew like 60% of your calls. Nothing happens to him if he does that. So, at least this way we can go, you screwed something up. We want to check it. And now we can verify.
Let me ask you this. We all agree that umpiring in the major leagues, I'm talking about balls and strikes, this is really bad by and large, right?
Yes.
At times, yeah, it's bad.
So, and we all agree that we like the challenge system, right?
Yes.
All three of us. I'm on board. So do we all agree just get rid of the umpire?
Yes, I'm for that.
Because we're nowhere near that. Because if you think about it, the average game, let's say, is 300 pitches, 150 for one team, 150 for the other. But we're only going to challenge here on average, according to the minor leagues, 3.9 pitches per game. That's about 1% of 300. So only 1% of the pitches will actually be challenged. Maybe some games more, some games less. To actually get rid of the umpires, 100% of the pitches would just be properly called. Now, again, it takes away. There's some variant. Some people would say, and I buy this, like, I'm taller than Jim, no offense.
Huh?
So my strike zone's different than your strike zone, right?
Yeah.
Like you're like more in that like Eddie Goodell.
What?
I'm kidding. You know what I'm talking about.
Did you call me short?
No, do you know who Eddie Goodell is?
No, but I feel like he's a short baseball player.
He was the dude. He was brought in as like an experiment for the Chicago White Sox by Bill Veeck. He was like 3 feet tall because they wanted to have the smallest strike zone in the sport.
You're that Mexican kid on the Bad News Bears that was like 2 feet tall, to where they can't walk him every time.
But my point is, like, there's some, you can't automate it like tennis. Tennis has white lines on the court.
Yeah.
You can say there's a strike zone, but there's times that Brent is standing up straight. There's times that Brent is crouched over. Like, it's subjective. There's no white box actually at the stadium. It's only on your television.
Yeah. No, I get
you know
that.
What I mean?
I get it. And this will completely take out pitch framing from catchers.
Yes.
There was a time in last year in the minors, they had automated balls and strikes, and the catcher was behind the plate.
Like, whatever.
And he like literally just caught the ball at his feet. But because the ball went over the plate in the strike zone, it was a strike, and it did not, like, if
That's funny,
on
man.
first glance, if you watch this pitch, it was a breaking ball. That thing went over the plate in the strike zone, but the catcher caught it at like his back foot, and because of the automated balls and strikes, it was called a strike. See, and when you watch it on television, if I just showed you this pitch, and I'll
You'd be like, there's no way that's called a strike.
No way.
But by the letter of the law,
Yes.
it actually crossed the plate. But let me say this. I don't think it eliminates pitch framing. Here's why. On average, in the minor leagues, only 3.9 pitches per game were challenged. So 99% of pitches won't be challenged.
Well,
you better be framing.
No, I'm always saying that if you completely take away umpires.
Yeah, that's true.
Not
now, I actually
no.
think that the framing's actually more valuable because you still want to get calls. And then when you really need to get calls is when you go to the challenge.
I know.
You're not going to be challenging, I would guess, on average, a pitch that is a half inch or an inch off of the strike zone, because you're then you've subjected yourself to getting that wrong. When it's 9 inches off the plate, you got to be like, what on earth is this?
Yeah, because there are umpires out there
that miss that bad.
That are awful, and they miss, you're right, that badly.
Yeah, 9 inch. I mean, you're missing by a foot.
Yeah.
That happens. We've watched.
Right. Doug
that
Andrews.
has to be challenged. When you miss by an inch, you're not going to challenge.
Angel Hernandez.
Yeah, and some of these guys are gone now.
They are. Angel Hernandez is gone.
Yeah.
But they
Did you say Eddings? He was awful.
Yeah, he's really bad. Remember that one year?
Oh my gosh.
In Miami?
Yeah.
Oof. Just
playoffs, I would have more challenges.
Yeah, just get it right. And make a system to where it doesn't take 17 seconds. It takes like 5 tops. Because
just pop it up, boom, let's go.
Because there are a lot of times too, while I think replay is good, it takes way too long.
Right. It could take 3 minutes, 4 minutes.
You gotta shorten this thing up. If I could see it on the television at home in a matter of seconds, then why aren't they seeing it in a matter of seconds in the replay booth or behind the plate for the automated balls and strikes?
It will be weird too, though. They'll be like ball game over. The Padres win. Oh wait.
Challenge.
And by the way, if you have a challenge remaining, then with 2 outs in the ninth and you end the game in a strikeout,
I think
you challenge every single last pitch of a game,
unless it's down the middle.
Why not challenge it? It's going to be odd.
My thing is in regards to the strike zone, wouldn't the computer use the same technology that they use on TV? Like when
Probably.
you would have your strike zone when you come up to bat, and then when Jim comes up to bat, it's going to adjust it for that. So if they use the same thing, the strike zone shouldn't really matter.
Probably. And by the way, this ESPN AP article or whatever says the same thing we just said. The league believes a challenge system would be less disruptive while retaining the human elements of the game, including pitch framing.
Okay.
Because if you just said, forget it, 100% ABS, automatic ball strikes, well, you've lost pitch frame. At that point, your catcher could just be like on like Spotify. Okay. I mean, he could just be like checking his email.
Did you see Darvish's reaction today when asked about the ABS?
I did, but I didn't fully watch it.
He wasn't happy about it.
Yeah, he's not into it.
He doesn't like it. There was a pitch that he threw today.
There was challenge.
And it was Martin Maldonado challenged it, and it was a ball.
What if it was Gurriel that challenged it?
Why would Gurriel challenge it?
Because he's facing Darvish.
No, I mean, no. Okay. I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
I get what you're saying. Yeah.
And what happened? It was overturned?
It was a ball.
And Darvish doesn't like it?
Yeah, of course you're not going to like it if it gets overturned.
I mean, again,
no strike.
Here's the one good thing if you're Darvish. It's not going to impact your career at all. It's not starting until the earliest next year. You've already been in the big leagues for 20 years.
Right.
By and large. I mean.
So it tells me that pitchers are upset because they're not going to be able to get in calls that aren't actually correct anymore.
Yeah, but no. If I'm a pitcher, it's just as valuable. Umpires miss pitches right down the middle of the plate.
That too, yeah.
You know? So it's just as valuable, I think, for pitchers.
Yeah.
All right, on the other side, San Diego State wins again. What does it mean for their March Madness chances? That's on the other side. Kevin Acee at 4 p.m. Great giveaways today, including Aztec tickets for Tuesday night against New Mexico on Jon and Jim. right, so if you're listening right now, if you have a phone, it'd be most people, right?
Everybody. Yeah.
Download the iHeartRadio app, put it on your Android or Apple device, and when you do that, you'll have presets. And if you wouldn't mind doing this is so simple and easy. It's going to take you 1 minute, this whole process. Either open the app or download it or update it. Put Jon and Jim in the presets, right? So you'll have us available to you on demand, interviews and hours of our show. And put San Diego Sports 760 in the presets. And you can listen to the show live on the iHeartRadio app. Couldn't be easier.
Couldn't be easier unless you're John Schaefer.
Yeah, for some reason it hasn't worked for me.
Still?
Prove to me that I'm a moron and do it.
Don't be too hard. If you have the presets, let's check here.
I just did my app updates earlier today when I got a haircut. Thanks for saying that. Nice haircut.
Well, you're wearing a hat, so I can't really tell.
Okay, that's fair. But look, so there's my app, and you can see I've been listening to San Diego Sports 760.
Interesting.
And meditation.
Interesting.
And the Aztecs locker room.
Interesting.
But anyway, download it, put us in your presets, Jon and Jim and San Diego Sports 760. So San Diego State goes down 17 at San Jose State a week ago, right? Halftime. Like it wasn't 17-0. Like you're in the second half trailing by 17. I don't know if you read this or heard this story. Wayne McKinney was vocal at the half and said, like if we're going to go down in flames here, like we're not going to do it for like a lack of effort. I'm obviously paraphrasing. I don't have a copy of what he said, but apparently he made a pretty passionate plea to his teammates and they clearly responded. They came all the way back, won that game. It was close at the end. They won it. And now they've put together back-to-back really good games. Boise State at home, a 17-point win. Last night they led by as many as 32. I know Fresno State hasn't been good, but geez. They led by 32. They won by 23. So was that like season saving? Maybe like, are we going to define this season? Typically in a year, they're like, there's a players only meeting. Or I remember when they went to the national championship game in like February, like Gruper Rope and others sat down and, like there's probably a moment of adversity you have to overcome. How many meetings have the Padres had over the last 10 years? 1,000 during their seasons. But like, is this going to be the moment that like changed the tides for the Aztecs?
We don't know that yet.
No, we don't.
But it's good that the last two games have been decisive wins. Nick Boyd's playing his best basketball right now. Magoon Guath has been great. If they can beat Utah State on the road on Saturday, then I'm more inclined to push that narrative that you're talking about right now.
That was a season-defining moment.
But yeah, even in hell, if you take care of business and you beat Utah State and New Mexico, then we might be cooking with some hot grease here.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, they're going to be motivated Saturday. The way they lost to Utah State at home.
Yeah.
I mean, that was a heartbreaker.
18-point, 17-point lead.
18-point lead, 7-point lead with 90 seconds to play.
Yeah. So you take care of business and you beat Utah State on Saturday, and then you come home and you take care of New Mexico. They're looking pretty good.
They're looking really good.
Can I take much away from beating a really awful 5-win Fresno State team? No. The only thing that I take away from these games against like Fresno States of the world and Air Force of the world is just pick up the win. And that's what not Air Force and San Jose State. Like San Jose State's kind of like sneaky good.
Yeah, they scare me.
But in these types of matchups against teams with like really bad rankings, net rankings,
yeah,
just win the game. Because last night, even though you won by 24, 23,
they won by 23. Yeah.
All right, 23.
So they moved up like a spot.
Cover the spread. You move up a spot. Doesn't really mean much.
Yeah, I agree with you. I guess my takeaway though, to your point, like you're like just win, and I agree with that. At the end of the day, we're getting down to the nitty gritty.
Yeah.
But in other games against this type of competition, they've been in a game for 40 minutes, right? Like not just San Jose State on the road, San Jose State at home. They were down 21. Air Force at home, they were down 20-8. Wyoming at home, they were down double digits in the second half.
Well, it's nice to get out to like a better start.
It's nice they got off to a good start last
because
night.
Getting out to slow starts, it's not fun. This Aztec team gets out to slow starts at times and then has to claw their way back. And to their credit, they have been able to do that. But a lot of times it's just an uphill battle that you just can't continue to do throughout the season.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. I mean, you look at what they have left, and there's only 5 games. You said that. I mean, the teeth of their schedule is what's to come here this week, which is at Utah State, back home for New Mexico. We have tickets for New Mexico Tuesday night. that we'll give away in the 4 o'clock hour. And then, I mean, again, it's all tricky. You close it at Wyoming, at UNLV, home to Nevada. It's kind of like if you can avoid the stumble, the slip up, you're in good shape. That's how I look at it. As big as New Mexico and Utah State are, it's almost just as big, the Wyoming and UNLV, because they're not towards the top of the league.
I think Utah State's game on Saturday is such a big swing game for their season. You win that, you're feeling really good about your chances here to make the tournament.
Yeah, I agree.
You lose that game on Saturday, depending on how that game plays out, it's like, all right, well,
try again next time.
Not try again next time, but it's just going to make things a little more difficult for us.
I think, I mean, I'm not a bracketologist, but I like to play one on the radio because we have bracketologists on every single day. I mean, I know you spend a good amount of your day at bracketmatrix.com.
You know what I did while you were gone?
I have no idea.
While you were gone, I actually, during the show one day, I went to kenpalm.com. It was the first time that I went to KenPalm in my entire life.
No, that's not true.
Yeah.
I need to help you. Are you okay?
And help me.
That's your first time?
Yeah, my first time.
It wasn't, when you put K, it didn't automatically show KENPOM.
Watch, here we go. Ken.
Now it pops up for you, probably.
It does, because I put it in one time.
Did you buy the subscription?
Of course not.
You should have. Even though I'm not.
I type in K, Kyle Yoga comes up for me, and then Honolulu, Hawaii comes up for me.
Yeah, because Honolulu starts with K.
Interesting.
That is weird. So why'd you go to KenPalm though when I was gone? Just to see where the Aztecs. You needed to do something Aztec. Tournament.
I wanted to see how it felt like.
Feels good.
Yeah, to be you.
Yeah, it feels.
What did
good.
it feel like to be you? And it wasn't.
I've never tried to, like, when you're gone, I never go to like WWF.com.
No, I know, because you wouldn't understand any of it.
Correct. And what, you're breaking down defensive efficiency numbers?
If you listened.
I wasn't. Well, all I know is this. San Diego State's won 7 of 8. They play really well in February under Brian Dutcher and March, and they're playing really well right now in February. So nobody knows how it ends. Nobody knows if they win on Saturday or not. I like their chances just to give Utah State their best punch, because I think the way the game played out here was so disappointing. Do you remember how it ends? I mean, they hit a 3, then SDSU tries to take a timeout. Dutch does. They don't get it granted. They just go up the floor, and Wayne McKinney missed that 3 from the right wing.
Yeah.
I just feel like, I don't know. They're capable of winning that game. We'll see if they do it or not, but they're fully capable of winning that game on Saturday. I know they'll be highly motivated to win that game on Saturday. And if they do it, to your point, it's a huge feather in their cap to make the NCAA tournament. And by the way, if you go to bracketmatrix.com like I have today.
I have not. I will not go.
It summarizes the 200 bracketologists, Jim. Right? You can scroll over. Look at that. Right? It has the Aztecs composite seeding as a 10 seed.
Do you do this in your free time?
What free time? This is work. I mean, yes. I come home after a game and I have a bowl of cereal and I spend an hour and a half looking at metrics. What do you do? No, seriously, what do you do at night?
Hang out with my wife.
I mean, I've done that. I've been married for 10 years.
Oh, that's it. And then you had.
What are you going to do in 10 years?
And then you get Jones. So that's what happens.
Yeah, no, he goes to sleep.
No, I mean, like when you hang out with your wife, you get a Jones.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yes.
So if I hang out with my wife, I might get a little Jones.
Yeah, I would guess it's probably more likely than not.
Yeah.
Especially when you're married to someone that probably wants to have. You should have like 5 kids.
Me?
I mean, one of them maybe turns into a bracketologist. You just never know what you're going to get.
He's on the Jones and Jimmy show.
That'd be amazing.
30 years.
That'll be 12-2 coming up in 30.
Jeez.
All right. Jake Ziven, MLS season pass broadcaster, has got the call of San Diego FC against LA Galaxy, the debut match for San Diego. He's on the call. He'll join us at 3:30. Kevin Acee joins us at 4 p.m. We've got Aztec basketball tickets to give away for next Tuesday night against New Mexico as well. Hour 2 of Jon and Jim comes your way next.
This update's brought to you by Staples Stores. San Diego State blew out Fresno State last night. 83-60. Nick Boyd had 19 points in the win. Next up, the Aztecs take on Utah State this Saturday night on the road, 5 p.m. tip, 4 p.m. pregame. Listen right here on San Diego Sports 760. And NFL news of the day, the salary cap's going up. It's set to increase by $22 million in 2025. Your local Staples has hot deals and super low prices throughout the store on everything for your business. And right now at Staples, save up to $250 on your print order. Exclusions do apply. Visit staples.com/print for details. Ends April 5th. Plus, save even more with the Easy Rewards program at Staples.
Getting you all set for that drive home. Let's just start the show. Here's Jon and Jim.
All right, San Diego and Southern California, what's going on? It's hour 2 of Jon and Jim. What are you asking me off the air?
Nothing.
No, I want to know. Oh, you want to know? No. There's no guest right now.
Oh, never mind.
Jake Ziven will
3:30.
call this SDFC match against LA Galaxy Sunday on
I'm on
Apple
a lot of drugs
TV.
right now.
Are you?
Yeah.
Because of the sickness.
Yeah. Drinking a lot of liquid today.
All right. Well, yesterday you were too. I think you've done better to this point today than you were doing yesterday at this time. Slightly. Maybe more than slightly.
I was thinking about this driving in today. I don't remember anything from yesterday's show.
It was all group dog.
Like I don't like zero. I don't remember any take I had. I don't remember anything I said.
Do you remember my ticket for speeding through the stop sign?
I remember that. I remember like what we talked about. I just don't remember what I said.
Yeah, it wasn't overly interesting. I think
No, it wasn't.
You were just trying to speak and then stop speaking.
That was the point.
Yeah,
I was just trying to get through the show.
Now that you've had a day to digest your sickness,
Yeah.
have you thought it has nothing to do with your sickness? Now that you've had a day to digest what Eric Gruper said yesterday, he talked about the TV deal and they might have this Saturday package of games. He talked about the CBT and top 10 payroll, and he talked about extending Don Orsillo. Congratulations to Don on that. We didn't touch on that yesterday. Like, is there anything that he said, or did something stick out to you in the state of the Padres from Eric Gruper yesterday? He spoke for a decent amount of time. He wasn't with anyone from ownership because we don't even know who's with ownership right now. But, you know, he spoke on a lot of subjects. Oh, my Lord. Bless you. Did anything stick out while you were dealing with this sickness from Eric Gruper yesterday?
No.
Nothing. So it was all kind of smoke, mirrors, fluff.
There was not one thing that Group Dog said that I was like, oh, that's interesting.
Really?
Yeah. And that's not a knock on Eric Gruper. It's just more or less it's very status quo. I expected everything that he said was expected.
Yeah, I agree.
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I agree with that.
And truthfully, that's how it's been all spring training with everybody. Maybe besides Schulte, because Schulte can he can be interesting to listen to.
Right.
But from every single player, everything that I've heard, you're like, okay, it's not really surprising. Like, nothing surprising there. You know,
okay.
it's just kind of status quo going about their business.
Mm-hmm.
There's been no like Rafi Devers incident this spring training where a player is declined to play a position. You know, everybody's on the same page, very team friendly. Nah, I can't think of one thing that I'm like, man, that stuck out to me.
The one thing he said yesterday that I didn't know, or I didn't expect him to say, is actually very like in the weeds, but I actually think for our listeners has value. So the way to get the Padres right now is to either pay the $99.99 a year or $20 a month. You can watch them on Padres.tv through MLB.tv, right? Through the MLB app, or you know what I'm talking about. If you watched them previously, it's $99.99, which I think is pretty reasonable, truthfully. But then there's other ways you could watch them previously, like through Cox Cable, etc., right? On like local cable stations. Maybe Your View would be an example of that. Yeah. But he also mentioned yesterday that they're close to announcing a deal to have Saturday home games broadcast over the air, which will extend their reach, according to Gruper, and provide them with some revenue.
Over the air, you mean?
Over the air being like, maybe I'm making this up, Fox 5. Like, you don't have to have a cable system
to
watch the games.
Okay.
And I don't know if it's
like
CW, Fox. yeah, potentially, or like your view over I don't know the answer to it, but they haven't had that. I mean, since I don't know the full history of the Padres on television, right? But there was Channel 4.
Yeah.
And then they went to Fox Sports San Diego. So from the Fox Sports San Diego era on, you needed to have cable.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is they're going to go back to something where you don't have to have cable to watch the Padres on Saturday home games, according to Eric Grupner yesterday. Now, as a baseball fan, I'm not a big let me just throw the team on Saturday. Like, I need to see the team every day. I'm not a Saturday baseball watcher. I'm sure some people are. Look, the Padres are on. Oh, wow. I watch the Padres Tuesday and Wednesday and Thursday morning.
I think one of the things that I heard from Grupner that kind of annoys me. It annoys me with all baseball teams in quote unquote small markets is the acknowledgement
that they're in a small market
of we're in a small market. So because of that, we can't do what we want to do. That's bull, dude. I almost cursed. That's BS. Like if you can go out and get a TV deal, go do it. And you're like limiting yourself by continuously saying, we're in a small market. Like broaden your horizons here, my guy.
I get it.
And maybe it is a problem. Maybe it is an issue. And yes, small market, Padres, okay, I get it. But look, if I go right now to the top 20 markets in the country, San Diego is a top 20 market.
Not in TV, it isn't. It's 27th.
Well,
so it's not
top 30.
Yeah, there's 30 teams.
Okay.
You know what I mean? I mean, it's you can't. I get it. He said something. I don't disagree with what he said. The revenue we create, we're pumping back into the team. I don't think he's lying. Are they really creating more than hundreds of millions of dollars of revenue per year? That's what you have to ask yourself. Are they creating more than 100? They have expenses. They pay people.
Yeah.
They pay people to work there a lot.
I take it back. He did say something that was interesting, that he continued to harp on, if the fans support this team like they have the last couple of years, then we can spend money like we have the last couple seasons.
But that's not that interesting. Isn't that how sports work? If you're the A's, there's no money. But if
even
you're the Yankees, there's money.
Yeah, but even when the A's had fans show up, they weren't spending money.
Well, they're a bad example. And they've never been supported the way the Padres are right now. Or if they have been, it's been 50 years.
So it kind of almost feels like he's putting the pressure like, hey, we need to have that continued fan support.
Yes and no. They already have the fan support. He already knows they sold out of their season ticket.
I know, but what if they didn't sell out?
But then they wouldn't have this $200 million payroll.
Right. So that's my point.
Yeah. Well, it's chicken egg stuff. I've said that. That's why I always push back when someone's like, don't support this ownership group. You want the Padres to spend less money?
Yeah, you want
that's what you
want.
Yeah, you want, as opposed to the Jason Hayward deal, you want some 19-year-old starting in left field.
Yeah.
So I mean,
well, maybe.
I think two things are true. I mean, I'm with you. I think they could create more money in television. I'm sure that's accurate. They create no money in television, but they'll never have a TV deal comparable to the Angels, even.
I know,
because the Angels are in like the LA television market. So, and I do think they put the money back in. Like, does anyone truly believe 70470 started with team or 877-767-4760? They're turning some huge profit right now with, I think, the 3 million fans and what they're generating from a revenue perspective goes back into the club. I really do.
That's good.
I don't think the $200 million is like, oh, they actually have $1 billion, but they're only putting $200 million into the club. There's just no way. I mean, we do the math on it. Like, they have hundreds of employees. They play 80 home games. Other teams like the Dodgers have $300 million in TV revenue they don't have. So, I mean, I do feel as if the money they make, by and large, goes back into the club. And they're not in the business of just, you know what, we prefer to make a buck as opposed to win. I don't sense that. I just sense that they've ran out of money.
I sense that they do want to win. And you're right. I think they did run out of money. And they're kind of capping it here.
Because they've used their revenues.
And that's why it just makes it that much more important to try and win right now.
Yes. I don't think
this is not going to be like every single year. There will be eventually a year in the near future where this team goes to spring training and it's awful.
It's funny when you say that, you mean the expectations are that they're going to win 73.5 games? There will be a year they go to spring training at some point this decade? Is that what you would say? That there's going to be a year this decade?
Well,
next 5, let's just say in the next 5 years, whatever. 5-6 years. There's going to be a year they go to spring training and they're expected win total is, forget 73.5, 75.5, 76.
Manny will be almost 40 along with Bogey.
I know, but Preller, I mean, I don't know. I hear what you're saying, but
Who even know if Preller is going to be around?
True.
So I'm just continuing to put out there the emphasis that winning now should be at the forefront of everybody's mind, and how important it is to do everything you possibly can to win right now.
Yeah, completely. No, I'm 100%
and good on Preller at this moment in time and the organization for at this moment keeping Cease and King and Arraez on this team. Now, maybe they didn't get what they were hoping for in the trade market for these guys. Then I understand that as well.
Right.
But if they truly had a point where they're like, all right, you know what, we're going to keep everybody and we're going to go for this thing, then good on them, because that's what they should have done in the first place.
Yeah, it's almost like they've kind of forced their way into that hand.
Along with yes, you do put these guys out there just because they're on the final years of their deals and see what they could fish.
And then you don't get the
snag.
Yeah, exactly.
And so then you say, all right, you know what? We didn't get what we wanted because we asked for a super high asking price on these guys, which you should. So you know what? We're going to go for it. And I'm glad, because in my heart of hearts, if I'm Preller, I'm sure he's probably thinking to himself like, yeah, I want to go for it.
Well, let's say they got to the trade deadline and they weren't in it.
Then you trade everybody.
Well, they do, but do they then use that money in 2026, or does the payroll come down? So if you get to the 2025 deadline and you trade away Dylan Cease and Luis Arraez, do you then use that money that you're freeing up in 2026, or is that now the new bar that's been set? We freed up 14, we freed up another 14, that lowers us $30 million. And now, as opposed to a $200 million payroll, we'll operate from a 170 position. That's what's most fascinating to me.
Yeah.
Like, even if, like you said, you're pot committed, but if you don't win, are you willing to go be pot committed again in 2026? And Gruper, according to what Gruper said, what you just said, hey, if we're going to be supported, if we're going to draw 3 million fans, then we will continue to pump this revenue into our payroll.
Good. And the fans deserve it. The fans have been amazing for this team, and they deserve the team investing on the on-field product.
Yeah, I agree. All right, there was an interesting win total released earlier today from ESPN on Major League Baseball teams, including the Padres, that we'll share with you on the other side. Then at 3:30, we're days out. San Diego FC, LA Galaxy, the MLS debut for San Diego. Jake Ziven will be on the call, MLS season pass announcer. He'll join us coming up at 3:30. We have Aztec basketball tickets to give away for a showdown Tuesday night, New Mexico and San Diego State, Viejas Arena. We have tickets to give away. We'll do that between now and 6 p.m. This is Jon and Jim. AM radio keeps vital voices accessible. Congress can secure its future, but we need your help. Text AM to 52886 now to support keeping AM radio in cars. Tell your member of Congress to pass legislation now. Keep AM radio in cars. Standard message and data rates apply. Jon Jim, San Diego Sports 760. ESPN posted a win total for all 30 Major League Baseball teams earlier today.
Okay. What do you got?
That's all I wanted to share with you.
Okay, great. Have a great rest of your day, everybody. Talk to you tomorrow.
Would you like to guess where the Padres were in terms of 1 to 30, where they would rank among the 30 teams in wins, and then what the win total would be? So,
Hold on, let me think here. 9th?
Okay, 9th most wins. All right, I hear you. Yeah. And then how many wins would that be?
86.
No, but you're close. The win total is 84.4.
Okay.
And that would rank 14th among the 30 teams if they were at 84.4. According
Where
to
does 86 wins rank you?
Well, that's a good question because I don't have the article in front of me, but I've been looking for it.
Where
I had it earlier.
Where does 91 wins rank you?
I'll find that. Why do you ask?
Where does 72 wins rank you?
Why are you asking? Oh, here we go. Win totals. So,
what about 89 wins?
Win average, Dodgers 102. Okay, is number 1, right? So it goes Dodgers, Braves, Yankees, Mets.
What about 72?
Shut up. So they have the Diamondbacks at 86.6.
Where do they rank?
That's 9.
There we go.
So 86.6 is 9. The Padres are 14th, 84.4. They give the Padres a 44.4% chance of reaching the postseason.
Okay.
They also give them a 1.7% chance of winning the World Series, which is about half the likelihood of the asteroid hitting Earth in 2032.
For all the stuff that's happened or not happened this offseason and the inactivity and one significant Major League signing in Nick Pivetta, the loss of key guys, bringing in guys like Hayward and Yuli Gurriel and Martin Maldonado and Elias Diaz. Is it weird of me that I think they actually could have like a pretty decent year?
Of course they could. Like the expectation here, this is what they write. Anything could happen. And he writes, I hate to be so imprecise, but after an offseason in which most of the focus in San Diego was on a changing ownership, it's still not clear just where this is all heading for the Padres.
Like, look, I know that they need a lot of things to go right and they can't have any major injuries to any of their major players because they have no depth on their team. But they have a pretty damn good bullpen. They have a really good 1 through 4. They have superstar players up and down this lineup, mostly top of the lineup rather than the bottom. Yeah, they have no bench. Yeah, they don't have a DH. Yeah, they don't have any depth. But I don't know, man. I think, and I said this like last week when they signed Nick Pivetta, I could see 86, 87 wins. Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think that's some crazy reach.
No.
I mean, they're saying 84.4, so it's only 1.5 wins more than 84.4. I mean, yeah, if they don't win 86 games, it's going to be concerning. If they don't win 86 games, they're not sniffing the postseason. And with 86, they might not sniff the postseason. What did it take last year to get in? 89?
Oh,
no, what did it take to get
90.
In?
Right.
Yeah, so, I mean, 86 isn't close. I mean, that's really not that close at the end of the day if 90 is what it takes.
86, 87.
That's what I'm saying. That would be on the outside looking in. I think them winning 86 or 87 games isn't going to be celebrated. It's like, man, well, they overcame it all to get to 86, 87. I mean, you gotta get to 86, 87 to have any shot.
And I get that, but each season plays out differently. So maybe 1 year, 85 wins is enough to get you in. Maybe 1 year, 92 wins you have to get to make the postseason. You know, I think once we figure out as the season goes on where this number is heading towards, then it's a better idea of where the Padres need to get to. If I just said on paper right now, they win 87 games, aren't you taking that and taking your chances?
I mean, I guess you'd probably have to, because what's the alternative? They might not get close.
Yeah.
Right. I don't assume they're going to win 93, which is what they won last year. So, yeah, I mean, 87, if they won 87 games, it would come down to the final few days, probably, like whether they were in or out. But, I mean, you could miss at 87, like last year, or I guess you could make it at 87, like the year before that. That's the line. I mean, I agree with this assessment, which is like, how do you really know How do you really know? The one sizable move they made, and I think it's a nice addition to Nick Pivetta. But I mean, this is not, an upper echelon, top tier starting pitching addition. It could be with Ruben Niebla, or it could be a guy that has a 4.5 ERA. We like that. Yeah. It could be anything from 3.5 ERA, 14 wins to 4.5 ERA, not overly impactful. That's the one addition.
You also have to remember, look at last year's team. King and Cease were fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
They pretty much carried this team as far as in the rotation goes the entire year. Darvish missed a bunch of time. Musgrove missed a bunch of time. And at one point in the year, we're like, Matt Waldron is their best pitcher. And now you go into this year with a fully healthy Yu Darvish that's expected to pitch, unless he gets hurt, for the entirety of the season, along with King and Cease. And you add Pivetta to that mix as well.
Mm-hmm.
You could argue that this rotation is better than last year's rotation. And last year's rotation was pretty damn good. So you have this year's rotation that arguably is better than last year's rotation. If they stay healthy, I get that.
Right.
And Tanner Scott's a huge loss. But this bullpen, as it's constructed right now, pretty damn good.
And it starts there. You're right. I mean, if your staff is a top 8 staff in the sport, you should be good. Like if your pitching is that good, if you have elite pitching, then you should be able to win enough to get you that 87 number.
And if you have to fill one spot a week with a combination of Waldron, Vasquez, Brito, Kolick, what's his name? Kyle Long? No.
Kyle Hart.
Kyle Hart, right? One of those guys, if one of those guys can emerge and kind of take the bull by the horns there as the 5th starter.
Yeah, one day a week I'm with you.
You know what I mean?
Every 5. It's not 2.
And you got Pivetta and Darvish giving you, let's say, 28 starts. And then you got Cease and King giving you 30 plus. With this bullpen, Jason Adam, Suarez.
Yeah, this division.
Like I do think the more I look at it, I really like their pitching now. And it's I think, it's because of the Nick Pivetta signing.
Yeah.
Like it kind of just like shores up things, it feels like. Now, would you want more pitching? Absolutely. You always want more pitching. But without Nick Pivetta in the fold, you're like, 2 days a week, that's going to be tough. And then what if an injury happens? Then you're kind of looking,
They were speculated to have interest maybe in a veteran today, Jose Quintana.
Right.
Who was, throwing in front of teams, I think, including San Diego. I mean, the thing with Darvish is he's thrown 200 innings his last 2 years combined. Now, some of that was personal reasons. Some of that was injury. I mean, Darvish ain't getting younger.
No.
And he's thrown about 200 innings the last 2 years. In 2023, he had a 4.56. Now, last year he was good. He had a 3.31. He just didn't throw that much.
How many innings
last year? He threw 81 innings.
Ugh.
So I'm not counting on him to go from 81 back to 194, which is where he was in 2022.
But I would take 164.
I know, but he was his last 2 are 136 and 80.
I know.
So
yeah.
Again, I think they need more starting pitching. I think you have to assume with wear and tear of a season, you're not just going to have Cease, King, Darvish, Pivetta every 5th day all the way through. And that's why I'd be looking at Jose Quintana too and others.
But what they are banking on and what needs to happen is King and Cease need to put together really seasons like they did last year. Because if that doesn't happen,
they're in trouble.
That's going to be a problem.
I agree. All right. SDFC opens their debut season Sunday against the LA Galaxy. And Jake Ziven is on the call. He's going to join us next, getting us ready for Major League Soccer in San Diego. Jake Ziven, MLS season pass announcer. He's on the call Sunday. He'll join us next, Jon and Jim.
All right, this update is brought to you by Staples Stores. San Diego State last night blew out Fresno State 83-60. Nick Boyd had 19 points in the win. Next up, Aztecs take on Utah State this Saturday night on the road, 5 p.m. tip, 4 p.m. pregame. Listen right here on San Diego Sports 760. And NFL news of the day, the salary cap is set to increase by $22 million in 2025. Your local Staples has hot deals and super low prices throughout the store on everything for your business. And right now at Staples, save up to $250 off your print order. Exclusions do apply. Visit staples.com/print for details. Ends April 5th. Plus, save even more with the Easy Rewards program at Staples.
All right, so years in the making. Major League Soccer in San Diego. SDFC's debut match is Sunday in LA against the Galaxy, who are reigning MLS Cup champions. We've got Jake Ziven with us, MLS season pass announcer. He'll be on the call. San Diego FC in a regular season match in Major League Soccer. So, Jake, we appreciate you joining us. Jon and Jim, San Diego Sports 760. What do you make of the job that SDFC has done here, getting ready for their debut season in terms of putting this roster together? And thanks for hopping on.
Jon and Jim, it's great to hop on. First of all, just very excited to be doing one of these radio hits in the city of San Diego. You know, San Diego joining the league as the 30th team in the 30th year. I think it's going to be a fantastic addition to MLS. And personally, what a wonderful addition to our road trip map, so to speak. To be able to come to San Diego several times a year, that is fantastic. Big upgrade for us. And man, excited for Sunday night. Yeah, it's interesting. I always think with an expansion team, you got to see them out there on the pitch. You never know. And there have been some expansion teams that have come in with high expectations and don't quite meet those. There have been some that have come in with zero expectations and have blown them away. The most recent one, St. Louis City 2 years ago, that won the Western Conference as an expansion team that most pundits picked to finish in last. The more I've kind of dug into the San Diego team, the roster seems decent and seems built to compete. There's experience both in Major League Soccer. There's experience in Europe. There's a heavy Danish influence, but guys who have had a lot of success, whether in the Danish league or the Belgian league, and have kind of played in UEFA Champions League or UEFA Europa League. These are kind of big competitive environments. And I think it could be a decent season for San Diego FC. We'll see how everybody gels together, but I think the roster so far has been built pretty coherently and pretty well. We'll see on Sunday, because you never know until they take the pitch.
Chucky Lozano was their big acquisition. Yep. They had a huge party for Chucky. He's kind of like their main guy on their roster. For fans that don't know much about Chucky, could you describe his game and what can they expect to see from Chucky Lozano?
He's an electric player, right? And that's where, like when I talk about the whole roster build, and I didn't mention him because he's kind of the given. He's not going to carry by himself, right? San Diego FC to like winning the West. So he is a star player that could easily be on a conference winning team and beyond in this country, in this league. Man, but he was at one point considered kind of like the next big thing for the Mexican national team. It's still, Mexican national team player. He's got pace. He's got technical ability. He's got skill. He's going to provide the big attacking moments. But it was interesting. We just talked to Mike Ibarra, San Diego's coach, a couple hours ago as kind of our game broadcast call. And what he said about Chucky, he was like, the one thing people don't talk about that I hope you guys do talk about is that he'll get back and he'll defend. And he pointed to a moment in their most recent preseason game when he kind of made a 40-yard sprint back to help the team recover and defend. And that's not always, it sounds so basic and like, of course, right, you have to do that. But it's not something that the kind of superstar attacking players in world football always do. The so-called kind of luxury players in soccer always do. But Chucky's doing that. He does that as well. And look, he's going to be asked to be the main man for San Diego FC just up the road in Los Angeles. Carlos Vela did that for LAFC in their first year in 2018 to great success. And I think San Diego FC we'll hope that Chucky will have a Vela-like impact for them this year and beyond as this club grows.
No doubt. Jake Ziven is with us. He'll be on the call on Sunday on Apple TV. MLS Season Pass, SDFC's debut against the reigning champs, the LA Galaxy. You touched on this. I mean, visiting San Diego and, having called soccer for your career. I mean, San Diego's an incredible soccer market. The fact that we haven't had Major League Soccer the last 30 years is kind of incredible in itself. I mean, what do you expect? Snapdragon Stadium is a brilliant soccer facility. They've had some huge matches already in that venue. I mean, what are your expectations for the way it just looks and sounds and feels here in Southern California, as close to the border as we are?
Exactly, right? It is a market that, to your point, just feels so suited for Major League Soccer and to be kind of a unique type of atmosphere in MLS. Yeah, look, there'll be some similarities, of course, to the Los Angeles teams, but even LAFC and the Galaxy, they have their kind of differences, and their games feel very different. LAFC is full of Hollywood stars. The Galaxy's guys are full of people who've been coming to those games for 30 years. San Diego will be a different option. You guys know better than me how much the influence of being so close to the border will have on San Diego FC, but I'm sure we will feel a very multicultural kind of atmosphere at Snapdragon Stadium. We were lucky enough to call last year in Leagues Cup the Club America Atlas game at Snapdragon Stadium. So we've already had kind of one dress rehearsal, so to speak, at Snapdragon. Man, great venue. Weather was perfect. We stayed, down in the gas lamp right by Petco Park. I cannot wait to keep coming back here to San Diego in the regular season multiple times a year. So, yeah, expecting great things and a great addition to MLS.
Yeah, it's not a bad place to live.
No, it's not terrible.
Yeah,
you guys are lucky, man. You're doing it right.
Yes, we are. When you look at the landscape of the entire league, obviously the Galaxy, who SDFC opens up with on Sunday up in Carson. They won the cup last year. What do you view as the favorites for the championship this year? And how would you break down the favorites heading into the 2025 season?
Yeah, they won't be the favorites for a couple reasons. Number one, I think no matter what, that team in South Florida with the greatest player of all time, Inter Miami, will be the favorites no matter what, despite the fact that they were upset big time last year in round one in the playoffs. But also the Galaxy have changed quite a bit from the team that won MLS Cup. Ricky Puig, who is their star, he's kind of their Chucky Lozano in the sense of the main man in the attack that everything will go through, though they play differently. He tore his ACL in the Western Conference Final, actually kind of a heroic performance. He kept playing for 30 more minutes, assisted the game-winning goal to send the team to MLS Cup. But then, of course, he's missed MLS Cup, and he'll be out for quite a long time. I mean, that was December, right? So he's going to be out until at least late summer if he can play this year. But their striker, Dejan Joveljic, who scored an MLS Cup, he was traded to Sporting Kansas City. Multiple midfielders from what was a really deep central midfield have been traded, center back traded. So they've changed a little bit. There's some question marks for the Galaxy heading into this year. There would have been, even without those moves, because of Ricky Puig's injury, but I don't think they're the favorite, right? Like normally a defending champ would be. I still think they will be very good. Marco Reus, who's a German legend, joined them in the summer, had a little bit of an impact for the last couple of months of last year. But now with Ricky Puig's injury, he'll be asked to be that main man from the beginning this year. He's had a full preseason. He settled into LA. If they can get like prime Marco Reus, or at least Marco Reus at his best at this stage in his career, then they very well could repeat in 2025.
Jake, final one for me, because I know this is going to pop up this weekend. We've had all this excitement and anticipation, and this happens with the Padres. This happens with the Aztecs. This happens now with sports. It's going to be Sunday, and people will be like, how do I watch this? Right? MLS season, again, because San Diego's not an MLS market until now, right?
Yeah.
But MLS season pass on Apple TV. What do you want our listeners, what do you want San Diegans to know about how you go about watching it? Not just this match, but basically this is how you go about watching SDFC throughout the course of the year, right?
Exactly, right. And I think in a good way for the San Diego FC supporters is they're starting from scratch with this. So they don't have any kind of preconditioned habits. And I think they're going to really like how easy it is to watch San Diego FC. MLS season pass on Apple TV, no matter where you are in the world, no blackouts, any device. That's how you watch every single game. You don't need to look at the TV guide, so to speak, which is, of course, an outdated thing. But you don't need to look up any given week. Oh, where are they this week? Where are they next week? No, MLS Season Pass on Apple TV every single week, wherever you are, literally, in the world, 120 countries or whatever it is, with no blackout. So that's really easy. Sunday Night Soccer, which is new this year. It's going to be a featured match on Sunday night. We have an enhanced production, a standalone spotlight game. This is the first Sunday Night Soccer game, and that's going to be available also on Apple TV Plus, right? So that's where you watch Ted Lasso and Severance and all the great shows on Apple TV Plus. So even if you don't have an MLS Season Pass subscription, but you do have a subscription to Apple TV Plus where you can watch, again, all those great shows, you'll be able to watch Sunday Night Soccer. But for every single game, MLS Season Pass, it's not overly expensive. I think it's about $100 a year, and then boom, you have it all. And for any season ticket holder, it should be included with your season tickets as well. So I hope that San Diego FC fans find it to be easy and convenient. And man, it's the future. It's where sports broadcasting is gone.
And once you do it one time, then it becomes easy to do.
Exactly.
Jake, final one for me. One of our good buddies, Darnay Tripp. I'm sure you know him.
My guy.
Yeah, he texted us and he said, "Ask Jake his favorite Bob Green quote." And we don't know Bob Green.
We don't even know what he's talking about.
So I hope it's not like an inside joke here.
No.
Okay, good.
So my guy, Darnay, who you in San Diego know well, we worked together in Montana, our first jobs out of college, 17 years ago. And Bob Green was the head coach of Montana Tech football, an NAIA school in Butte, Montana. And this guy was like ridiculous with his quotes. At one point, there was an app before that was even a thing where you would log into the app and it would just play you random clips of him. I'm even on his Wikipedia right now. You can see it. Here we go. Here's a quote from him. It's a double-edged sword. It's like watching your mother-in-law go off a cliff in a Cadillac. You have mixed feelings. So, yeah,
that's a good one.
That's what he would say to us after these games. And you're just like, you just put the camera, you just hit record, and all right, we're just going to go grab the tape. It was tape at the time. Bring it to the station, and let's just put it on the air. Right? It's TV gold. So we loved our Bob Green.
That's fantastic.
Jake, we're looking forward to Sunday, I guess late afternoon here in San Diego for, again, the opener, SDFC LA Galaxy at 4 p.m. Sunday, the debut match for SDFC, again, on MLS Season Pass. We appreciate you hopping on. Best of luck with the start of the season, and hope to do it once we get going here in 2025.
Can't wait, guys. Anytime.
All right. Jake Ziven, again, on the call for SDFC and LA Galaxy. On the other side, we're going to give away Dierks Bentley tickets, and Kevin Acee will join us at 4 p.m. So we'll give away some tickets to see Dierks Bentley coming up. Kevin Acee, our Padres insider, joins us in 15 minutes. This is Jon and Jim. Can't hit us up on the talkback mic. Just open the free iHeartRadio app. Listen to San Diego Sports 760. Tap that little microphone icon. Next, the play button to leave a 30-second talkback. Kevin Acee will join us in about 10 minutes. We do have Dirks Bentley tickets to give away in about 5 minutes. And to follow up on that SDFC discussion, we both saw this today. I think DraftKings has SDFC as 65-1 to win MLS Cup.
So they're not
exactly
last,
the favorite, yeah.
but they're not.
No,
last.
they're not. There's a few teams that 80-1. New England and Sporting KC. San Diego's 65-1. Miami is plus 370, or about 3.5-1.
Yeah.
So Inter Miami, little messy. LAFC, we just had Jake on and say they're not going to be the favorite. They have the second shortest odds according to DraftKings to win it again behind Miami.
For me, in their inaugural season.
Yeah. What do you need to see, Jim?
Well, I am just going from like a standpoint of, if I go to the games and when I go to the games, is the environment fun? Is it a fun environment? Is there going to be good crowds there? Like, what's the crowd like? What's the in-game experience like? Do I expect them to go out and win right away? No.
Okay.
But can they create a culture? Can they create a culture for the average fan that doesn't know much or isn't a diehard right away? Because you have the diehards right away, and they supposedly they have a ton of season tickets already out there.
Yep.
To like what, 17, 18,000?
It's a big number. Yeah. Is this first match sold out on March 1st at home? I think if it's not, it's pretty close. I was looking the other day, it was weeks ago actually.
Yeah.
At like ticket availability for home games at Snapdragon, almost all the games have tens of thousands of tickets sold. I mean, there's not a lot of tickets. You just click through the games, 1,000 tickets here, 2,000 tickets there.
Well, it makes it easier to go to these matches because they're at nighttime on a Saturday.
Sure, absolutely.
Or a
That's
Sunday.
beneficial, yeah. Mostly Saturday night.
Yeah, mostly Saturday nights. So, hey, going to a match on a Saturday night, like, that's fun. And I'm sure during the season, baseball season, you'll have opportunities, we've already checked, where you could do a double dip. You could go to a Padres game in the afternoon on a Saturday at 5 o'clock or 4 o'clock, and you still can make it for the start of a SDFC match.
Yeah. So you're saying that you're not going to come on the air Monday and be like,
I can't believe,
man, that result in LA, we need to figure this out.
Right. No.
You're not, because that's not going to be your take.
No. But hey, if they win, that'd be pretty
cool.
That'd
be awesome. I think getting I think that would be really cool.
That'd be really cool.
So that's Sunday. And then the home opener is a week from Saturday. And that's something that we actually have tickets for.
We do. And we have jerseys as well.
Right. So you can follow us on Instagram at SD. What are we? SD Sports 760?
I'm going to let you figure this out.
At SD Sports 760. Follow us on Instagram. You could win 2 tickets to that home opener, Saturday, March 1st, Snapdragon, plus 2 San Diego FC jerseys. All fans in attendance opening night get a scarf, courtesy of DirecTV. Again, go to Instagram, follow at SD Sports 760. Drop your name, neighborhood, and who you want to bring to the game on the post. That is next Saturday night. That's going to be a scene. That will be a scene.
Yeah, you'll have 35,000 plus.
Oh, I mean, yeah. I mean, that game will be sold out. If it's not, it may be sold out. I have no idea.
Maybe.
So yeah, that's exciting. And we'll again have looking forward to Sunday, LA and San Diego from where'd you say Carson? From Carson, California. All right, Kevin Acee is going to join us in a few minutes. Again, now the full team is there. Now they're just hours away from playing someone other than themselves. It'll be Seattle on Friday, and we'll get the latest. I mean, I'm curious just from Kevin's opinion, his thoughts on Gurriel. Like, why? Is it about money? Is it about leadership? Is it kind of an interesting player to add, considering everything we've talked about over the last 2 days? I'll be curious to hear from Kevin on that. Also, Kevin spoke with Eric Gruper. I mean, he was right there. Yeah. And he asked why no ownership, and Eric Gruper answered that question. But Kevin was there for that, however long that back and forth was with the media yesterday with Group.
Yeah, like what's the biggest takeaway for you from the Group dog?
Yeah.
And it seems like we have resolution on when we're going to hear from John Seidler.
Some point in the next 30 days.
Well, now it's not 30 days from now. It's like maybe 10 days from now.
Didn't he say, though, early to mid-March?
Yeah.
Yes, that's like 10
days, John.
Early to mid-March is 10 days away?
Well, early March is in like less than 10 days because we only have
early March is in less than 10 days. You're right. It's 9 days away.
Yeah. So there you go.
I don't think you're going to hear
next Saturday, John.
I'm pretty sure.
On the first?
And then you're not going to hear from him. Do you think you will?
I don't know.
I think we'll hear from him the day before the season starts.
Really?
If we hear from him before the season, it'll be interesting.
Maybe Kevin will know that.
He just asked Eric Gruper yesterday. We play the answer.
Well, maybe he did some digging.
He said early to mid-March, I think. Yeah, maybe. I mean, it's an interesting question. People want to hear from John Seiler. An off-season of instability, and you can't be sold on anything else. When the Roki Sasaki story played out the way it did, when the brothers retorted Shield Seiler's lawsuit by saying that the indecisiveness played a factor in us not landing Roki Sasaki, the lack of stability is basically what they said. I mean, that's the highlight of the offseason. It's not Nick Pivetta. I'm sorry, Nick. Yes, Nick Pivetta on field could be the highlight, but the bigger story this offseason has been the Padres' pursuit of Roki Sasaki. They don't land him, and the way this ownership situation has played out.
Well, if you listen carefully, Eric Grupner did throw in a bunch of, we are a very stable organization.
He did.
Multiple times, which I don't think was by accident.
No, you're right. He's probably trying to portray that they're on stable ground. I think Rob Manfred, we played him yesterday. He tried to portray the Padres being on stable ground. He was asked about, is the team for sale, Eric Grupner? He was asked, would the team relocate? He didn't even entertain the relocation question. He said, I've asked multiple times, this team is not for sale.
Because that's never going to happen. The relocation thing?
No. I mean, honestly.
Not in my lifetime, though.
Honestly, with the benefit of hindsight on that, like, again, that shouldn't have been in the lawsuit.
No, it shouldn't have been. But
that shouldn't have been alleged.
But who knows what Sheila has, heard. Maybe it's like an offhanded comment behind closed doors.
Maybe.
And she's like, well, that's not going to fly.
No, it definitely wouldn't fly. I don't think it would fly at all.
So,
but that was a little bit. That's what made the biggest stir.
Yeah.
The fact that in the lawsuit was like, oh yeah, if John Seiler gets control of this team, they may even relocate. Like, that's a really strong allegation.
Yeah, I never bought that.
No, and they're not going
took
anywhere.
It seriously.
And I don't think they're being sold.
Not in the immediate future.
Yeah. I guess if she can win this lawsuit, maybe.
Depends on what the next steps are with this lawsuit.
True.
What else comes out. And if it does turn uglier.
True.
Then, I said like a month ago, I'm like, you know what? This thing, it just feels like a sale eventually in the future feels like it's going to happen. But if this thing settles and we don't hear much about it in the future and John just remains a steady hand control person, then it's not getting sold, obviously.
Yeah. Again, maybe in the future you can never say never. It doesn't scream that a sale is imminent with the Padres, even with everything that's played out with this lawsuit. All right, call right now if you want 2 free tickets to see Dierks Bentley at the North Island Credit Union Amphitheater. June 19th is the date. Dierks Bentley, June 19th at North Island Credit Union Amphitheater. First caller, you're going to go. 877-767-4760. 877-767-4760. Tickets and info at Ticketmaster.com. If you want Dierks Bentley tickets, call right now. 877-767-4760. It's 2 free tickets. Kevin Acee's in Peoria, where he'll be for the next month. It'll join us as our Padres insider after this break, right here on Jon and Jim.
This update is brought to you by Staples Stores. We'll start with the Aztecs. They blew out Fresno State last night, 83-60 behind 19 points from Nick Boyd. Next up, the Aztecs take on Utah State this Saturday night. On the road, 5 p.m. tip, 4 p.m. pregame. You can listen right here on San Diego Sports 760. And NFL news of the day. NFL salary caps for next year are going to increase by over $22 million. Your local Staples has hot deals and super low prices throughout the store on everything for your business. And right now at Staples, save up to $250 off your print order. Exclusions do apply. Visit staples.com/print for details. Ends April 5th. Plus, save even more with the Easy Rewards program at Staples.
Getting you all set for that drive home. Let's just start the show. Here's Jon and Jim.
All right, San Diego and Southern California, what's going on? This is hour 3 of Jon and Jim, and later this hour, your chance to win Aztec basketball tickets for next Tuesday night against New Mexico at Viejas Arena. So be listening for your chance to win, but always our pleasure to go back to Peoria, where spring training is underway. The Padres will actually play a game against another team.
Yay!
On Friday in about a little less than 48 hours. So Kevin Acee is our Padres insider. He'll be with us throughout the course of the 2025 season here on San Diego Sports 760, and he's back with us this afternoon on Jon and Jim. I'm curious, Kevin, and we always appreciate you hopping on, to get just your thoughts on the Yuli Gurriel signing. I mean, we know that they haven't spent a ton on Major League signings this offseason. There's certainly a need in there to add a bat. What do you make of it being this bad in Yuli Gurriel? And again, thanks for the time.
Yeah, it's always a pleasure, gentlemen. He was a really good player. Maybe he still is. I don't know. Won't cost him anything to find out. He is revered. I think more than a lot of people realize, based on his career that began in Cuba and was incredible for 10 years. Being a part of the Astros, led the American League, 4 years ago in batting average, and was like second in on base percentage, or maybe even OPS. I don't know. The guy is not that far removed at a pretty advanced age from being a really effective player. There are signs that stuff was still there last year, but all he could get was a minor league deal, and maybe could make $1.25 million. So I don't think expectations should be terribly high. This is where the Padres are at, right? When they're looking for a bat, this is where they're at.
And it also probably speaks more to the lack of depth in their organization when they have to go out and sign guys like Yuli Gurriel with an opportunity to make the big league club, right?
Sure. And that has been the case for a while, like in terms of like you're top heavy, and then what are you going to do? Like we were waiting for a few guys before that were a part of, say, that 16 class to come up and be big bats or something. And they ended up having to go out and get guys. And this year it's been Gavin Sheets and Pierce, and maybe we still will see something from Pierce Ornelas, but it's been Gavin Sheets and Yuli Gurriel in terms of getting minor league deals. Yes.
All right. Kevin Acee is our Padres insider. As it extends to the dynamic from years ago, I mean, is this a complete non-story? The Gurriel Darvish 2017 World Series, the inappropriate gestures, he's suspended. Darvish didn't even really take offense to it, I guess 7 or 8 years ago, or took the high road. I know they've since spoken. I know Gurriel touched on it. Is this at all a story or a dynamic, or completely irrelevant at this point?
I think we've given it enough talk, as in, of course it needed to be talked about. And of course it was something that we had to find out. And I knew, like, from the second that you heard he was coming here, that AJ Preller had checked with Yu Darvish. I mean, his respect for, the man he calls Yuson is like immense. Like, I'm not sure that AJ Preller respects a player more than he respects Yu Darvish. There was never a chance he wasn't going to make 100% certain that Yu Darvish was fine with this. And he did. And as you mentioned, Yu Darvish was gracious back in 2017. And then yesterday, both in talking with Gurriel and then like when I talked to him, he explained that a clubhouse isn't like out in society, right? And like there's certain things, like he's not saying what Yuli Gurriel did was right, but like he understands that's the way guys joke around in the clubhouse. And certainly, guys from certain cultures, it just has never been a thing where like, hey, you rip on me for, being Cuban, and or joke, I shouldn't say rip, but and I joke about you for being Asian or whatever. And we can all be horrified by that. But I'm just telling you, that's what happens. And so I do think that this is a non-issue, and for the reasons I mentioned, but mostly because of the graciousness of you, Darvish.
Kevin, Xander Bogaerts was one of your biggest, I guess, things to watch in spring training. It's one of ours as well. And, moving back to shortstop, it sounds like the being comfortable and going back to short could really help him. Does the team view that as hopefully something that could, jumpstart a really good year for Xander, like putting him back in a position that he is very comfortable with, even though they might not view him as the long-term guy at short?
The answer is yes, but mostly it's you can hope, right? Like he said, he doesn't want to make too big a deal out of it. Yes. Is he happy to go back to short? Sure. He didn't ask to leave, right? And so, yeah, he's been hearing since he was like a rookie that he wasn't going to be long for shortstop. And here he is, 13 years later, he's going to be shortstop. And so I don't think there's any doubt that it affected him to some extent. Like he was putting his body through a lot, learning a new position on the fly. And then he got hurt and all that. I think that obviously if he's back to being Xander Bogaerts that he was in Boston, or even say for the last half of 2023, we're all going to be like, oh yeah, back to shortstop. But I don't think he is really making that big a deal out of it, though he's not downplaying it in terms of he's very happy to be back at shortstop. He considers himself a shortstop. He has always known that, getting up there at some point, he's moving.
Kevin Acee with us right now, Jon and Jim, San Diego Sports 760. So you were there yesterday, this kind of state of the Padres address that we've become accustomed to over the years, oftentimes with either Peter Seidler when he was owning the club, or last year even with Eric Etzenda, and yesterday it was just Eric Gruper. What did you make of, I guess, the newsworthiness? Was there anything that came out of that back and forth with the media that you consider to be newsworthy that Gruper said yesterday?
Well, the news that came out of it was Don Orsillo was given a long-term contract, and they will get a little bit of money from a Saturday over-the-air package that I haven't even looked into how much that is or which local station that'll be on. So, because the games will also still be on, Padres.tv and whatever cable channel that is for you, depending on your package. So that was really it. The newsworthiness was that one of the highest people, the guy intimately involved in basically all of their stuff in ownership, spoke on the record, because other than statements from, other than at FanFest when Eric Gruper was part of a Q&A in which the team created the questions, and statements by Matt Seidler or the Seidler Trust, there has not been anybody to go on the record. And so there are things that we were able to say, okay, here's what the Padres are saying. Now, you can say, oh, Kevin Acee reported or Dennis Sun reported or whatever based on sources over time. But now we have quotes from these people. One thing I want to say is not as newsworthy as people might hope is, Eric Gruper or anybody can say, I've been told this team is not for sale. And it doesn't mean anything. Now, I'm not saying they're for sale. I'm just saying, I don't recall the last time an ownership group trumpeted or didn't deny that they were selling before they sold.
Right, and Eric's the and Eric's the CEO.
Right,
no offense to Eric, but he doesn't have any say in if they're going to be for sale in the future.
Does. Eric has an ownership stake. He's a minority owner in the team, but
not as large as like the Seidlers, though.
Yes, he has. No one does. Heck, Alfredo Harpaloo at 15% does not have a say. Alone, the members of the O'Malley Seidler family don't have a say. Ultimately, John Seidler, who would take input, is the one who will have say. And, Eric Kutsenda would have a big part of that. Seidler, Kutsenda equity has a stake. I mean, it would be a lot of people. You're correct that Eric Grupner would not have a say, but I want to say that, Eric Grupner's role has grown immensely and he does know things. Mm-hmm. So in no way, I just want to make sure I'm clear, not that you guys are saying he wasn't lying. I don't believe he was lying based on everything that I've heard, but it's just like, okay, so we asked him and we got him on record, but like we could hear the teams being sold tomorrow.
Right. Yeah. Things can happen very fast around here. Kevin, what would you make of, I guess, their willingness to be over the CBT this year? From the looks of it, it's they're going to be over the CBT at the start of this season. Unless they suck and then they start trading people. Right. Exactly.
So, which is all I can think of when they say, hey, that's not figured till the end of the season. We don't know where we're going to end up. And I'm like, there's really no way to get that thing down. Other than to get rid of people. So, and right now they're 18 over. Look, they're going to end up, if they were 18 over, whatever 20% of 18 is, $3 million, $3.8 million. I don't know. That's what they'll end up paying. So it's not a huge deal. It became a thing that because they said they weren't going to do it, but it was always about how much money are they spending.
Yeah, that makes sense. Kevin Acee.
Because last year they were able to reset basically, just like if the Dodgers, which they never will, were able to reset. Like, gosh, their tax bill this year, the Dodgers, is going to be more than like the payroll of a few teams.
Yeah, which is incredible.
Yeah,
that is really incredible. Yeah. You mentioned there in Grupner having a small share in ownership. Do you have any idea, like what number is that? What percent of the club does he own?
I have not confirmed that, but he's a minority owner that, he's a minority owner. So he's not just going to the Padres ownership meetings twice a year, to keep the minutes. He has a stake. I'm not sure how it all works. Like it might be tied up in, how long I've heard a lot of things, but I'm not going to say for sure, because I don't want it to be like I haven't reported it yet, and I don't want it to be like I know something I don't. I know that he has a minority stake, and I believe that some of it is tied up in how long does he stay with the team and that sort of thing. Like it's basically like a vesting thing, like people, not me, but people like my wife that work at like real companies, and you stay there long enough and you get stock options and all that stuff. I think it's something like that.
1% of the San Diego Padres at a $2 billion valuation would be $20 million if it were to be as high as 1%. You asked on this yesterday, and I know Eric Grupner answered it. For our listeners that missed it, you expect John Seidler to speak to the media in some capacity between now and opening day 2025?
That's what's always been said, and then Eric said it yesterday. So, I think we've talked about it before. Like, I think he should have said something, right, already, but I can understand why they wouldn't put him in front of a group or even an unscripted interview and with even a single reporter at this point, because there is ongoing litigation and he's not the control person yet. And if someone wanted to seize on that, like, I get it. I get it. But once he is, there is no reason whatsoever. And that should be happening first or second week of March, that he becomes the trustee of Peter Seidler Trust, and then is the control person, and he should be A-OK to talk to the media, and thus the media is merely a conduit, so he'd be speaking to the fans.
All right, we're looking forward to that. We're looking forward to Friday. We will catch up with you at some point, hopefully after the game on Friday. And if Jason Hayward goes 0-2, we'll talk about trade possibilities.
Oh, my God.
I mean, this is a big game.
Oh my God. Yeah. You know what I can't wait to see? I saw it today, and I'm just saying, I'm just throwing it out there. Eggy Rosario. I think he moves really well. I'm excited to see Eggy Rosario in left field.
Well, we're going to talk about him then.
I thought you were talking about automated balls and strikes.
That too.
Well, I'm going to tell you guys something. I don't know if you saw my notebook today, or maybe you saw something else where Darvish it was exciting, actually.
I know you didn't like it.
He
Not
didn't
you,
like
but
it.
Darvish did not like it.
Both of his, both the ones that Elias Diaz, he questioned a ball and it was or he questioned a ball and it was a strike, and the batter questioned a ball or a strike and it was a ball. So you lost both of his challenges, ostensibly. But like, here's what happens. So the catcher or the batter pats his head. Then there's an announcement. The previous pitch has been challenged. And then everyone turns to the scoreboard and it shows the graphic. And it says challenge denied or whatever. And then it shows you 1.4 inches outside. Like it tells you. And it's like, can you imagine a packed house? Like everyone's going to go nuts. It's like, now, maybe we'll get tired of it. But it was actually, and everyone kind of thought so. It was pretty exciting.
I can't wait for the first game to be determined by it. Like you think a game's over, there's a challenge, a guy gets another opportunity, then comes through the base hit to right and like wins.
I just wish that I could find something in my life to be as excited about as you are about automated balls and strikes, Kevin.
Let me tell you something. I thought about it afterward. I'm all, man, I just oversold that, except I'm telling you what that actually speaks to is the boredom of spring training.
Absolutely. That's where I was going with. You got to find something to be excited about in the nuances of spring training. Backfield BP.
Yeah. And in baseball, I mean, something like this is like, it's kind of a big deal. In other sports, maybe it's not, but in baseball, I mean, you've had balls and strikes called by umpires for forever. So it's kind of a big deal in baseball.
And we're, by the way, obviously, you guys have probably explained this. We're at least a year away.
Yeah, from
next year.
Exactly.
I bet it's next year. But here we are in spring training where major leaguers are being encouraged to really kind of lean into this in their first chance. So it gives the league an understanding, and it also gives players and managers an understanding of this. It's been used in AAA. It will be used all year in AAA. It's pretty revolutionary.
We'll be watching 12:10 on Friday, then we'll catch up with you at some point Friday afternoon. But Kevin, we always appreciate the time.
Take care, guys.
All right. Kevin Acee, our Padres insider, will react on the other side, plus the wrap coming up, plus Aztec basketball tickets against New Mexico coming up this hour. Jon and Jim. Coming up at 4:30, we'll get to the wrap. So just a few moments away. Plus, this hour, San Diego State, New Mexico tickets. This will be Tuesday night. Next Tuesday night, Viejas Arena, the second to last home game for the Aztecs. So you're right. Kevin's very excited about automatic balls and strikes, which are not coming to Major League Baseball until at least 2026 in the regular season.
I feel like, and obviously I've never been to jail, but like,
is that obvious?
Well, I mean, but if you were in jail and they're like, today's meal is like cupcakes or whatever, and you get super excited for it. And for a normal person, it's like, okay, whatever, it's fine. But for somebody that's like starving for just anything, you get excited at the smallest minute thing possible. And that's what I'm talking about with Kevin here. And yeah, if you want to say spring training is like being at prison because it's just so boring.
Same day, every day.
Same day, every day. It's just every single day. It's the same thing. And then finally you get something new. You're like, ooh, this is exciting.
If I was at spring training for 49 straight days, 7 consecutive weeks,
I would need something.
I would really need something. I think that's probably the most challenging part of covering Major League Baseball would be covering spring training. Like if you actually have to be there and that's your job to be there every day, that's challenging.
Because the best days are the first days. When you first talk to Manny, when you first talk to Xander,
and then
and Jackson and Tatis, and when you first talk to Schulte, hell, even the second time you talk to Schulte, and then you talk to AJ Preller, and then you talk to a new player, Nick Pivetta, and some of the new guys, and Connor Joe and Jason Hayward. And then you're going to start seeing like questions of, Tirso, what did you like about his at bat yesterday in the third inning? You know what I mean? Like it's just,
the part in spring training where Schultz going to be asked like, oh, like is Manny going to play on Thursday? Well, no, he's going to play Tuesday, but he's not going to travel to Surprise because, he's kind of nursing that finger. So we're going to give him a third of a game off. Like it's the most mindless. I mean, imagine being Mike Schilt in spring training. It's almost harder than managing the team in the regular.
He loves it.
You got 100 guys you got to get in.
He loves it.
Well, Schilt just loves all things.
He lives
it's a top 5 day.
Baseball.
I mean, today's a top 5 day. He said 15 straight top 5 days.
There's only very few people that can live and breathe baseball and be actually sincere about it.
What does he think about automatic?
I believe when he expresses his love for baseball, he's actually sincere. I think there's a lot of people that express a love for baseball. And you're like, you don't love baseball that much. Stop it.
Right. But Schulte's like,
Schulte is being sincere and honest.
He must love this time of year.
I love baseball, but Schulte takes it to another level.
Yes, he really has. He really has.
Yeah, I mean, you got to find something. I do feel, though, that have you seen what's going on at Dodgers camp?
For example?
Roki threw off the mound today. And for whatever reason, I don't know if it was a mixture of fans, but there's a video out there of Roki pitching on the mound and probably 200 people, maybe 150.
Like media?
I think it's a combination of media and people within the Dodgers organization.
Yeah. All
watching Roki pitch on like a backfield.
That's how big of a deal it would have been.
I know.
Yeah.
So
that we knew. And that, right? I mean,
that would have made spring training exciting.
Oh my gosh.
Every day
I'd be like show in town.
Every day.
That's the whole story of spring training would have been Roki Sasaki.
Now I'm sure if you're covering the team like, Kevin, Dennis, and
they probably
AJ,
prefer not having him.
That's my point is Roki would have been amazing to cover. But the fact that he would have drawn so much interest from the Japanese media, and it would have been a circus.
You never would have been in the press box again in your life. Think about that.
I know.
You never would have. I mean, that would have ended.
Then the excuse of there's no room in the press box would actually apply.
Wouldn't have been an excuse.
No.
Yeah.
It would actually be
when
true.
When the Dodgers come to San Diego this year, there's no room in the press box. All right, we're going to get to the wrap on the other side. Plus, we have Aztec tickets to give away later this hour. They're taking on New Mexico on Tuesday night. We're here until 6 p.m. Jon and Jim.
This update is brought to you by Staples Stores. Aztecs blew out Fresno State last night, 83-60. Nick Boyd led the way with 19 points in the win. Next up, the Aztecs take on Utah State this Saturday night on the road, 5 p.m. tip, 4 p.m. pregame right here on San Diego Sports 760. Your local Staples has hot deals and super low prices throughout the store on everything for your business. And right now at Staples, save up to $250 off your print orders. Exclusions do apply. Visit staples.com/print for details. Ends April 5th. Plus, save even more with the Easy Rewards program at Staples.
All right, Jon and Jim back with you here until 6. Coming up in about 10 minutes, your chance to win 2 free tickets to see the Aztecs take on New Mexico. This will be a week from yesterday. So in 6 days, Tuesday night, February 25th, second to last home game of the year for the Aztecs, who have won 7 of 8, trying to get back to an NCAA tournament. We have 2 free tickets to give away. Do not call now. We'll let you know when to call for those 2 free tickets to see the Aztecs take on the University of New Mexico. So again, here until 6. Right now, let's get to this.
It's time for The Wrap, presented by Sombrero Mexican Food. Check out their website at sombreromex.com.
ESPN predicts the Padres to win 84 games in 2025. Will you take the over or the under?
Screw it. I'll take the over.
You're not going to go die on the underhill right now?
No, I'm not. Now, as Group Dog said yesterday, AJ goes throughout entire spring training to shape and build the roster, so it's not complete yet.
Right.
But I feel kind of weirdly optimistic. I don't know. Even with everything that's happened this offseason and the ups and downs, mostly downs, I don't know, dude. I kind of feel a little more optimistic than maybe I've led on.
Yeah, that's fair. I feel as indecisive as I could possibly feel. I feel like it's a complete up in the air, have no clue how it plays out. That's how I truly feel. I could be convinced of anything. They do something like last year. I think that's a stretch to me, 93 wins, but I could be convinced they're good. I could be convinced they're bad, is my point. So I just don't know what to think. I think they're going to be more heavily reliant on staying healthy. Remember last year they didn't have Darvish. They didn't have Tatis. They were still really good. This year, can they do it without Tatis? Can they do it without Darvish? That to me seems to be even more of a stretch.
Well, that's what I'm just going to bank on is they have relatively good health.
Right. Oh yeah, if that's the case.
If they have relatively good health, I feel good about this team.
Right.
It all goes out the window once you have a major injury, though.
Yeah, no doubt, because they just don't seem to have the depth that's going to be necessary. But like you said, I mean, if they stay healthy, if that rotation stays healthy, then hopefully they have a chance to be really good. Next question.
Who will have a better year, Nick Pivetta or you, Darvish?
I'll go with Nick Pivetta just from the standpoint, like you mentioned, when you look at what happened to music?
It turned off.
Oh. When you look at Darvish's year, the last couple years, it's 130 innings and 80 innings.
Yeah.
So just by that, the recent success of both pitchers, I think Darvish is if I'm picking who do I want starting a playoff game, is Darvish.
Mm-hmm.
But I think Nick Pivetta he's been more consistent the last 4 years. So I'll say Nick Pivetta.
I agree with you. I think you could actually use if Nick Pivetta is going to be a workhorse and make those 30 starts and lower that ERA a quarter of a run or more, then he's going to be really valuable. If he could be 370 ERA, 180 innings, he'll give this team a chance to again hopefully get to that high 80 win total. So yeah, I could be convinced of Pivetta having more value potentially than a 39-year-old Yu Darvish. Next question.
Is Friday a must-win game for the Padres?
Well, we will be on air after the game.
Yeah.
Or when the game is just about to end.
Probably is it'll take 2.5 hours. It'll be over by 2:30.
Look, you got to start the Cactus League off on the right foot here.
I can't wait to hear from Schill postgame.
Oh, man. I know.
I mean, yeah, I think it's a must-win because I've been talking about it for weeks. Go beat Seattle.
Don't lose to Seattle.
Don't lose to Seattle.
Don't lose 14-0.
Which is what they did last year to the Dodgers.
And they still won 93 games. So it just shows you how
Doesn't matter.
meaningless spring training is.
So not a must win. But Saturday is. You can't fall to 0-2 in the Cactus.
No.
Next question.
Should the college football playoffs expand?
You see this?
No. No, I haven't. What is it?
Big Ten and SEC
Wait, what?
are talking
What
about.
are the Big Ten? What is that? Big Ten.
Well, they want more of their schools to be in the playoffs.
What's the Big Ten? Conference?
Yeah.
Of what? Teams?
What are you talking about?
Yes, I saw this, you idiot.
Okay. I was
It's
asking.
college sports. I've
You
seen everything.
you see everything. You see
Right.
it all.
It's like, yeah.
No, because you expand, you're going to get just a bunch of
More SEC teams.
yeah, not only more SEC teams, but you're going to get just a bunch of average games. You know, you want to make this so it's like an actual something, like it means something.
Right.
You have 16 teams, and it's like, man, the regular season really doesn't matter.
I'm all for it expanding if they gave teams access like the NCAA tournament. They just won't.
No,
You know, I'm the NCAA tournament at 68 teams. I'm in favor of because St. Mary's can get an at-large spot just like the University of Arkansas. But in football, that doesn't work. I'm not going to be convinced that East Carolina can get an at-large spot just like Penn State. Well, that happens in basketball. It doesn't happen in football. To me, I always thought expanding the playoff made perfect sense, but I don't like expanding the playoff but keeping the system closed. Like, I don't want to require a certain number of SEC teams or require a certain number of Big Ten teams. Why not just open it up and pick the best teams? If the best teams one year happen to be Washington State and Boise State, put them in. If they're not the best teams, then put Penn State and Ohio State in. But that's the difference between basketball and football. Basketball is a realistic selection based on your season. And you can compare George Mason to Ohio State. And they don't do that in football for whatever reason.
yeah, I think watching the first year of the college football playoffs, didn't it feel like at the end it was just kind of lost?
It's a little long.
It kind of lost its like excitement.
I thought the whole bye system was really bad because it was like only conference champions can have a bye, but then better teams don't have a bye.
Like the first couple rounds, you're like really excited for it.
I was into it. I mean, I did like it. I think they can do a better job with it. Like, it can be tweaked. It was only 1 year. Like, how do I compare it to the NFL playoff? It's nowhere near as compelling. I mean, the thing about the NFL playoff is there's no committee. You won the NFC West.
Yeah.
You finished second in the NFC. You're a wild card. But in college, it's like, well, Tennessee is better than Coastal Carolina. Believe me, I know Coastal went 12-0, but 8-4 Tennessee's better. Believe me.
Do you think they should move the playoff up so
Maybe a week.
the New Year's Six games aren't like you don't have the New Year's Six games and then you have to go 2 weeks after that?
Yeah, I think that's right.
Like New Year's Six or maybe semifinals?
Yeah, I would love to see the championship played on New Year's Day. That won't happen. But yeah, closer to New Year's Day. Yeah, because but they're not going to. Next year, it's 2 days later. It's like January 27th or something.
Seriously?
Yeah, it's very close to the Super Bowl in future years. And it's on like Mondays.
And you're going right up against the playoffs.
Yeah.
NFL.
Yeah. So, I mean, I understand your point. I mean, I'm not expanding it unless there's a reason to expand it. To expand it to let Alabama in the field, because remember, Alabama wasn't in. And they lost to Vanderbilt.
Yeah.
So they shouldn't have been in.
Right.
But if you expand the field, they're in. So the team that lost to Vanderbilt with 3 losses is in next year if they expand the field. And that's why maybe you don't need to expand the field.
Yeah, the buzz for the national championship game this year wasn't that great.
And it was 2, marquee brands.
Yeah.
Ohio State and Notre Dame are massive brands.
Yeah. I do also think, too, when you have Ohio State
Mm-hmm.
and Notre Dame, they're not in the conference. So,
Correct.
And they lost to NIU.
Right. Yeah.
And Ohio State didn't even win the Big Ten. They lost to Michigan at home, yet they're the national champs. You're kind of like, okay, I like a playoff. Don't get me wrong. I like to see everybody have a fair shot at this thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Just, it was interesting.
Yeah, it is interesting. I agree. It's a new world. I completely agree with that. It is interesting. And here's what's going to happen. It's going to expand. I don't know when, but there's more money in it. So it's
absolutely. More money means more teams and a worse product.
And they're talking about expanding the NCAA tournament from 68 to 76 as well, potentially, as soon as next year, by the way, for that. All right. Who wants 2 free tickets to see the Aztecs next Tuesday night, February 25th against New Mexico? This massive game. Just 2 games remaining for San Diego State at Viejas this year. If you want those tickets, call 877-767-4760. Our first 2 callers will be contestants for trivia, and one of you is winning those 2 free tickets to see the Aztecs and New Mexico next Tuesday night at Viejas Arena. If tickets are available, they're at goaztecs.com. But call right now if you want them. 877-767-4760. That's next on Jon and Jim. All right, join San Diego Sports 760, the San Diego Blood Bank, saving lives by donating blood at the iHeartRadio Blood Drive. That's Friday, February 28th, 8 to 1:30 here at 9660 Granite Ridge Drive. Your donation can help patients with cancer, severe burns, trauma, childbirth complications, and more. One donation could save up to 3 lives, and all blood types are needed. The first 50 successful donors will receive a pair of tickets to see King Brown March 13th, or a pair of tickets to see Kelsey Ballerini March 22nd at Pechanga Arena while supplies last. Make your appointment today, sandiegobloodbank.org/iHeart.
Do you think they'd allow me to donate blood, or do you think I would like spread COVID-64?
I don't know. I don't think you're supposed to give blood when you're sick.
No, you're not. I don't think so.
But hopefully by February 28th, you'll be feeling better.
I walk in the studio yesterday and you go, what do you have, like COVID 30?
I mean, you were really sick.
Yeah.
And you still aren't exactly, a vision of perfect health right now.
No, it's a problem. If you weren't here, I don't know if I could do the show.
What would you do?
I don't know.
I don't think there'd be a show, truthfully.
Because I can't speak without coughing.
You could just air like yesterday's show.
Just air a show from last week.
Like, would anyone know?
Probably not.
Why are they talking about, I don't even know.
The Padres just signed Nick Pivetta again?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, yeah, no, there's nothing worse than being sick with this job. It's just annoying. Or not being able to speak with this job. That's the worst part of it.
Yeah.
Everything else is great. Seriously.
Yeah, no, it's great.
Amazing. But when you can't speak, it's like it's not ideal.
It puts a hamper on things.
It really does. Not literally, but it really does.
Correct.
All right, coming up at the 5 o'clock hour, back to the possibility of extending Luis Arraez for the Padres. The Tony Gwynn Legacy Tournament is at SDSU this weekend involving San Diego State Baseball. We'll catch up with their head coach at 5:30. But right now, let's get to this.
All right, 3 questions, 2 contestants, 1 lifeline. Today's 2 contestants, we have Toby and Jake. Toby, you called in first, so you have your choice of Jon or Jim. Who do you want to go with?
No offense, but I'm going to go with Jon.
Offense taken there, buddy.
He said me?
Yeah,
I missed that. Okay.
Yeah,
I look forward to it.
Toby and Jon. Jake, you get me, okay?
Let's do it.
All right. Brent, what's the question of the day?
All right, guys, spring training kicks off this week. Today's question, name any of the 10 players that hit 35 or more home runs in the majors last year.
Okay, I like this question. Jake, you're up first. What's your first guess? You have a lifeline if you want to use it.
Let's go Shohei.
Shohei Ohtani. Good guess.
Really good guess.
Yeah. Toby, back to you. What is your first guess? You have a lifeline if you want to use it.
How about Aaron Judge?
Aaron Judge, yeah, on the list.
That's a good one.
There we go. Jake, your second guess. Do you have a lifeline if you want to use it?
Let's go Bryce Harper.
Bryce Harper?
Bryce, is he on the list?
Not on the list. No, Toby, back to you. What is your second guess? You do have a lifeline if you want to use it.
Do I want to use it now? Oh crap. Think. Yeah, I use a lifeline. I can't remember right now. Go ahead, Jon.
You said Judge.
Judge and Ohtani are off the list.
I'll give you Soto.
Soto, you take that.
There you go. Yep.
Boom. How about that?
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Career year.
Yeah. Jake, what's your next guess? You're going to need this to stay in the game. You do have a lifeline if you want to use it. What do you got?
Yeah, I'll take the lifeline.
Okay. That's me. I'm gonna take. I have a name in my head, but I don't know if this person hit more than 35 home runs or not.
Right, that's the question.
Yeah, I know it is. I'm gonna go with Gunnar Henderson.
Ooh.
Do you take that, or you want to guess something else?
I'll get something else.
All right, what do you got?
Ooh.
What about Vladdy Jr.?
Vladdy Guerrero Jr.
No, ball game. So
Should have listened to Jim.
Wow.
I was smart.
Jim hosts a radio show. He hosts a YouTube show. We
And
talk
I
a
cover
lot
a
of
baseball
baseball
team.
And you went with, who'd he go with?
Gunnar
He
Henderson.
went with Tyler Wade.
Tyler Wade.
So Gunnar Henderson was on the list. Who else is on this list? 35 home runs. How many players did this last year?
10.
10 players.
Was Teoscar Hernandez on this list?
No.
Oh.
Okay. Nice.
All right. Judges number 1. Otani was 2. Anthony
Santander.
Yeah, I can never say his name either. He's the SGA of baseball for me. Juan Soto is number 4. Marcelo Osuna is 5. Jose Ramirez was also 5. There's 3-way. Then with Brent Rooker, Kyle Schwarber,
Yeah.
Gunnar Henderson, and then Ketel Marte.
Ketel Marte. What a list.
Wow.
What a year.
What a
Will a
moment.
Padre hit 35 home runs, Jim?
That would be nice.
I honestly, yeah, I say it happens. I think it's Tatis. I think Tatis hits 35 home runs this year. I think that's really realistic.
He's
Don't you?
He's gonna hit. You know what he's gonna do?
No, I don't. I haven't seen the year.
He's gonna hit 40 home runs.
He's done it once.
This team needs a 40 home run year from Tatis.
Yep.
That would be.
See, Manny can't hit
incredible.
35. Manny can hit 30, right? Like he's
Manny
not
is-
the 35 guy.
He's like the 32 guy.
Yeah, like that's the it's going to be 29 to 31.
Yeah. Like that's.
We might look
35 would
up
be
in
a
June and be like,
lot.
why he's hit 3, and then he gets going. He hits 6 in June and
Yep.
7 in July and 7 in August.
Yeah, I can already see it now, and I'll have to like hold myself back. Like
I
you
know,
said, he'll have
I
3 home
know.
runs by June 1st.
49 games into the year.
And you're like, what the hell?
What's going on with Manny?
And then he'll turn it around and have a great couple months, and he'll end up with 29 home runs and 100 RBI and hit 285.
Yeah, but he told me he's fully healthy. This isn't the year to hit 3 home runs in the first 50 games. You know,
True.
if I'm fully back and my elbow's great and I'm the team captain and the leader and I'm in the middle of that lineup, like he's being paid to hit more than a couple of home runs in the first month of the year. Like
Yeah.
he's got to get out of the gates better.
I'm gonna need, a good year for Manny is very needed.
You think he homers Friday?
Did he even play Friday?
I doubt it.
Did you see who's starting on Friday for the Padres?
You know what? No, I didn't. I saw there was a video like this is who's starting, and I didn't click on it. Let me guess. Kyle Hart.
No, you are not right.
Who's the dude they're stretching out?
Stephen Kolek?
Stephen Kolek.
Nope.
Nick Pivetta.
Nope.
Yu Darvish. Dylan Cease. Matt Waldron. Michael King.
Nope.
Mike Schild.
In Double-A last year, John, he had a 4.78 ERA. He went 2-10.
Well, he didn't get good run support.
Ryan Bergert.
Oh, is Berger going to start game 1?
Bergert.
Right.
Not
Yes,
Berger.
I said.
Ryan Bergert. Who? Exactly. Number 38, Ryan Bergert.
He's going to have a better line than Musgrove did on opening day last year in spring training.
I could
promise
have a
you
better
that.
line than
Yeah.
Joe on
Yeah.
spring training day.
So
one.
Berger gets the ball in the opener.
Yeah, not a great year for him last year, though.
No, 2-10 in Double-A is not a great year.
No,
I would
no.
agree with that.
No, not great.
All right, coming up on the other side, we'll get back to the possibility of a Luis Arraez extension. Where's that on your priority list, Padres fans? We are here until 6 p.m., so don't go anywhere. We'll kick off hour 4 of Jon and Jim here until 6. Jim's back page still coming up. We'll talk about the Tony Gwynn legacy, the baseball tournament at San Diego State. We'll discuss that with San Diego State's baseball coach at 5:30. But stay with us. It's Jon and Jim.
This update's brought to you by Staples Stores. We'll start with the Aztecs. They beat up on Fresno State last night, winning 83-60. Nick Boyd led the way with 19 points in the win. Next up, the Aztecs take on Utah State this Saturday night on the road, 5 p.m. tip, 4 p.m. pregame. You can listen right here on San Diego Sports 760. Your local Staples has hot deals and super low prices throughout the store on everything for your business. And right now at Staples, save up to $250 off your print order. Exclusions do apply. Visit staples.com/print for details. Ends April 5th. Plus, save even more with the Easy Rewards program at Staples.
Getting you all set for that drive home. Let's just start the show. Here's Jon and Jim.
All right, San Diego and Southern California, what's going on? This is the final hour of Jon and Jim. We are here until 6. Sean Cole is San Diego State's baseball coach. They've got the Tony Gwynn legacy. There's a great baseball tournament over the years. That's this weekend at Tony Gwynn Stadium. So we'll get into that, the start of the college baseball season as well at 5:30. I do want to get back to Luis Arraez, but can I read you a quote?
Sure.
Okay. Yeah. How could you stop me from doing it? Like,
I'm
tape my mouth.
What do I say? You can't.
I mean, this is laughable. I find these I just stumble on these.
Quote from where?
What was the ridiculous Padres quote? We're like, we haven't won the division in 20 years. Shut up, dude. We don't even know who you are.
Kyle Hart.
Here's a quote from A.G. Spanos.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Chargers president of business operations. I was going to say baseball operations. That'd be interesting. A.G. Spanos. Okay, so the Chargers are going to play in Sao Paulo, Brazil on Friday, September 5th. Remember, the Eagles played the Packers this year in the first ever game in Brazil. It'll be the Chargers as the home team in Brazil. Listen to this. You might as well not even have a quote if you're going to be quoted like this. It's a tremendous opportunity to help grow the game and bring the Chargers brand to millions of sports fans across Brazil and Latin America. So let me get this straight. First of all, you lost millions of sports fans in Southern California at one point. But your one random game in Sao Paulo on September 5th is going to grow the Chargers brand to millions of sports fans in South America? No, it won't.
No.
It has no relevance at all. Zero. The Chargers are no more popular. Popular is a loose term. I mean, they have no popularity right now in South America, obviously. Nobody knows who they are. But yeah, you're going to play the Titans, and all of a sudden everyone's going to be rocking Chargers gear throughout Brazil in 2025. No, it's a joke.
Now,
it's stupid.
My argument of I'm glad it's not my team in Brazil goes out the window when the two teams who were in Brazil this past year were the Eagles and the Packers.
Right.
Both made the playoffs, and Eagles won the Super Bowl.
Okay.
Pretty convincingly.
Yeah, that's true.
So if you want to use the argument like going to Brazil, that's a tough ask for a team that could derail, that could be a real damper on your season. Well, it wasn't for the Eagles or the Packers. Packers just got a bunch of injuries, and they met again in the playoffs too.
Correct.
So that argument you can't use. But I also am glad it's not my team, because I wouldn't want to watch if giving up a home game means going to Brazil, like that's tough ass, man.
It's one thing. Listen, the NFL wants to play games overseas. Surprise, right? They're playing games in Brazil, Germany.
Yeah.
There's a game coming to Ireland.
London.
I mean, they're really moving games around. Okay, that's fine. That's an NFL initiative. That has nothing to do with the Chargers. That's not a fault of the Chargers. I believe in if you're going to put a quote out there, you might as well not put a quote out there. If we're going to grow the Chargers brand in South America. No, you're not. It's not happening. Sorry.
Your brand sucks.
Exactly. I doubt all of Brazil is going to be rocking Chargers gear in the fall of 2025.
Cool logos, but other than that,
how was the play?
Yeah.
All right. So this was from AJ Castavell earlier today related to Luis Arraez. Now, the Padres have not approached Arraez about an extension. He is a free agent as of now at the end of 2025. According to Castavell, Arraez has let the club know he's open to the idea of an extension. But again, to this point, the Padres have not entertained it with Arraez or his representation. He's in his final season. He's set to make about $14 million. He's a 3-time hit king in Major League Baseball, including last year with the San Diego Padres. I mean, we talked about this earlier. It's a priority. If we were in charge, it's a priority. But we don't know if it's like the priority if we were in charge, extending Luis Arraez.
It's not the priority. You're right. It is a priority. It makes it difficult when you have like 3 dudes on your team that are all pretty important pieces to the puzzle, all coming up on their final years of their deals, or at least control, or whatever. So Cease, King, Arraez. Those are your top 3 right there. Those are all impending free agents.
Mm-hmm.
Jackson Merrill, if he has another season like he did last year, price tag's only going to go up.
Yep.
Who else would be a free agent on this team? That's it?
Cease, King, Arraez.
Like, that matters.
Yeah. Yeah, not Suarez. Right? There's no option out, is there, after 2025 for Suarez?
There might be a player option.
So that could make him a free agent if there is.
But when the player options either become a free agent or get $16 million per year,
you opt back in,
especially as a reliever.
Right.
You're doing that.
Right. Is he really owed $16 million after this?
If he opts in, I think it's a mutual.
Okay.
Option. I don't know.
Okay.
I don't.
That's fine.
The contracts are crazy.
Sure.
They're weird. But of the impending free agents, Cease, I put in a corner. He's not re-signing. Sorry. I'd love it, but he's not. I hope I'm wrong. King, I think you could work something out, but you got to get on it.
Yep.
Arraez, I think you can work something out. I don't think you have to get on it right now, but I think you could work something out, like middle of the year type of thing.
With Arraez?
Yeah.
Would you want them to? I guess that's you want them to work something out. You want to give Luis Arraez 4 for 60? He's making 14 this year.
Absolutely.
So 4 for 60.
Yeah.
Lock him up.
He's 28.
He's only 28. You're right. So you got him through whatever, age 32-ish season.
He's dependent on something that can age very well.
Hand-eye.
Right. And the fact that he hits over 300 every year. Now, I get your point.
What if he doesn't?
If he hits 284 instead of 314, it's a problem. That's not going to be great because he's not going to provide you with much walks or pop in the bat. So you're like dependent on him having a high average because then it trickles down into having a high on-base percentage. And then you want him to be up in situations with runners in scoring position because historically in his career, he's really good with runners in scoring position. So, yeah, I would love to see Luis Arraez stay here. And I think also, too, and if you listen to Luis Arraez speak today, or was it yesterday? I forget.
I think it may have been today, actually.
Today. And he loves this team.
Yes.
He loves the players like him and Tatis and Merrill and he loves these guys.
Do you think that if you're Arraez and you've bounced around 3 spots in 3 years, Minnesota, Miami, and San Diego, would you take less to stay? And by less, I don't mean anything crazy.
No.
So I'm saying, let's say they offered him 4 for 60. And you're like, well, I think I'm worth 75. I think I can get a 5th year, or I'm worth more than 15 a year. Would you go to free agency to try to get more? Or would you take 4 for 60 right now if you were Luis Arraez?
I mean, I'd take 1 for 10, bro.
Dude, you take 1 for 1 right now.
I'd take 1 for 1.
$1 million is a lot of money.
Give me the Jason Hayward contract.
I agree. I'm taking 1 for 1 too.
Give me the Yuri Gurriel.
Most people are taking $1 million. I'm just saying, if I'm Arraez and I've won 3 batting titles, do I want to be extended? It sounds like it does. AJ Cassavell wrote about it. Now the Padres haven't approached him. Yeah, I think he is absolutely open. It's not a hometown discount.
No.
But I think he'd prefer not to go to free agency if he can get the guarantee of 3-4 years or whatever the money is.
Yeah.
Even if he could get more by getting to free agency.
Yeah. I mean, I would love Luis Arraez to stick around because he does something that nobody else in baseball can do, which is actually hit for a high average every single year.
It's true.
Like, you're going to get players that will have good seasons or whatnot, but what's this dude, a career 320 hitter?
It's been ridiculous. In his career, he's hit 323.
Yeah, he's amazing.
323. He hit 314 this past year.
And that was considered a down year. And he also had an issue with his thumb.
And that 314 was 318 here.
So
he had 299 in Miami.
So we've talked a lot about Manny going into the season healthy. Luis Arraez going into the season healthy is a huge thing too.
Yes. Yeah, I would agree with that. Yeah.
Because he was battling through it last year. And when he first got here, lit the world on fire. He was amazing.
He was
Every game
amazing.
was like a 3-hit game.
Yeah, he was so good. You're right. That first week, was it his first game against Arizona? He had like 100 hits.
Yeah, the weekend he had like
100 hits.
It was incredible.
Yeah, no, he's a fun player. I'm with you. I think from a fan perspective, I mean, he's had multiple years of 200 hits. Multiple years of 200 hits. Like, he is a fun player. I think from a fan perspective. And again, like, you want to get in the weeds with all the sabermetrics. Sometimes you just want to say, screw the sabermetrics. I have eyes. He's always on base.
Yeah.
And he knocks guys in.
Yeah. Does he pass the eye test? Like,
yeah
he does.
Easily.
Yeah.
Definitively passes the eye test.
He does what he does best. And that is high average. And if he could work in a couple more walks here and there, and he does hit for like his best year, he hit 350, 360,
354.
Who was on base that year? Like 390,
393.
So
he has not had a 400 on base percentage in his career, which is kind of crazy considering he's hit 323.
But if he hits 325 next year, he could have a 370, 380 on base.
He could.
And that's still really good. Now, it's not like ideal. You would love your leadoff guy. Every baseball team would love their leadoff man to have an on-base percentage in the 400s. But you give me a high 300 on base with hitting 320.
I'm convinced. I'm with you. I want to see him stay. Now, earlier I said he wouldn't be listen, if my priorities were Merrill, King, and Arraez, and I can only have two, I think he's my odd man out. It's not to say I don't like Luis Arraez, but I really like Michael King, and I really like Jackson Merrill.
Oh, if you're posing that question, it's
but that's what I'm saying, because I don't think the Padres are the embarrassment of riches franchise anymore. So, like, they have questions that need to be answered. They don't have the answers to all questions. They can't just sign all players.
I mean, in a perfect world, you would just give the Jake Cronenworth contract, or at least the money, to Luis Arraez. You wouldn't have Jake. I'm fine with that. And then you give maybe the Musgrove deal to King.
Musgrove. Yeah, maybe we could talk to Jake and Joe about that. Hey, guys, your money.
We just give your money to these guys.
Take your money and
these guys we are better.
We'd prefer those guys.
Yeah.
Let's go to the phones here. 877-767-4760. 877-767-4760. Doug wants to chime in. And Doug, you're on with Jon and Jim.
John, my guy, how are you? Appreciate it. Listen, Arraez is the best player, one of the best players the Padres have. And then in the offseason, it seemed like he's going to get traded every day to the Yankees. I was in panic. There's no way they can lose this guy. He is the powder keg for the whole team. He is fantastic. I think it was the manager said he was like a Picasso, and I believe it. He is just such a great hitter.
Appreciate you, Doug. Thanks for calling into the John Show. He is a good hitter. I understand the argument. Who are you? Hold on, I'm doing my show. Yeah, he's a great hitter. Like, I get it. He's a really good hitter. I understand. Like, I get it. If you're a Padres fan, you're like, why are we moving Luis Arraez? Not that they have. Yeah. But I understand that.
I just think that there will be a point in this season where this offense could, at least the top of the lineup, could really be humming with a hot Arraez and Tatis and Merrill and Manny. Hell, I don't even know if Merrill's going to be hitting the 3-hole this year. No,
we don't know that. You're right.
Hey, I got a question, Kevin. Can you ask Mike Schilt about the lineup?
It's February 1st.
So?
He doesn't know.
But so?
It's a good point.
Like, hey, do you envision Jackson Merrill hitting closer to the top of this lineup this year?
I think the answer is yes.
I want to know that.
Okay, well, we'll have Kevin on again on Friday.
All right.
And we'll see Kevin. The lineup.
Well, hey, Kevin.
We'll see where Merrill bats to support Matt Bergertz or whatever his name is, who's pitching.
Kyle Berger.
All right, let's go back to the phones. 877-767-4760. Kevin wants to weigh in. I don't think it's Kevin Acee on Luis Arraez.
Yeah, different Kevin, but I mean, I think Merrill should be batting up at the top. I'd actually put Tatis's leadoff because of the power he can hit. I'd hit Merrill in the 2-hole, and then I'd hit Arraez in the 3-hole because he hits guys in, like you were just saying, and then follow him with Manny. I think it makes sense to hit Arraez not in the number 1 spot because, like you said, he doesn't walk enough. And Tatis finished the year with such a tear. He's our best hitter right now. Let's lead him off.
Kevin, good call. I vote. You know me, Jim. I'm a huge proponent of Fernando Tatis Jr. leading off. I always have been. If I'm going to look up his career numbers, they're ridiculous leading off.
That's like next level Tampa Bay Rays.
I love that stuff.
Thinking.
Though. I have no problem with it. Well, there's nobody on base to lead off the game. Okay, but he gets one extra plate appearance.
How many times has Luis Arraez hit third in his career?
He's done it a good amount, I think, actually.
Really?
I mean, we looked this up. He hasn't only been a leadoff hitter.
I mean, I don't hate it, but I also don't think that's what they're going to do.
Either do I. Would you like to know the answer?
No, John, I actually wouldn't.
Okay, then I won't tell you.
What is
Internet?
it?
I'm looking, dude. He has Luis Arraez played 52 games in his career, batting 30, so 356.
Oh, it must be nice.
In those 52 games. And then you have Fernando Tatis Jr., who in his career as the leadoff hitter in a batting order. Hey, Internet, do something. What is this, like AOL? All right.
I know what it feels like.
In his career leading off, Fernando Tatis Jr. has a 974 OPS.
Is that good?
Now, you may say, is that good? But then again, when he's batted cleanup in his career, he's got a 1060 OPS.
Oh, is that good?
But that's only a 41 game. How about this? Tatis has been much better hitting first than hitting second. Listen to this, 974 to 805 in his career. I have no problem leading off Fernando Tatis Jr. in 135 games next year. I don't think it's going to happen. I just have always liked it.
You know what, Doug? Might be onto something here.
That's right. Doug? That's Kevin.
Kevin, sorry.
Yeah.
My bad, Kevin. Kev Dog.
What do you guys think? 70470. Start it with the word team, or 877-767-4760. Plus, we'll talk about this upcoming Tony Gwynn Legacy Baseball Tournament at San Diego State at 5:30. We've got Jim's back page. We're here until 6. Jon and Jim. right, Sean Cole, San Diego State's baseball coach. They've got the Tony Gwynn Legacy Tournament this weekend, Tony Gwynn Stadium. He's going to join us coming up at 5:30. We have Jim's back page still ahead. Aztecs on the road. Logan, Utah State Saturday, 5 o'clock Pacific. Huge game. Then back home Tuesday. So a lot going on. We got San Diego FC Sunday afternoon against LA Galaxy. We have the spring training opener. Who's pitching?
Burgert.
Kyle Burgert. Opposite the Mariners on Friday at 12:10 Pacific.
I was really hoping they just like went with their A team. Like we're starting Dylan Cease.
Yeah, I want to see the full lineup. Like,
and he's going 7.
I want to win that game by 20.
And we're going, Adam in the 8th.
Yes.
Suarez in the 9th.
Now we're talking.
Manny's going to get 4 at bats in this game,
right?
Minimum.
This game's televised, obviously, on Friday.
Is it?
I mean, it has to be. You can't have an opener not televised, right?
You can.
Right. 20 live broadcasts on Padres.tv.
You can watch on SDPA, whatever that is.
Well, Padres.tv.
Yeah. So it won't be.
Okay. Well, then I'll be watching. But again, after like an inning, no longer are you seeing Jackson Merrill.
1 at bat.
Yeah. Maybe more than that. Maybe a couple.
And then by like the 6th inning, it'll be like number 97.
It's always interesting also in spring training when like they've played 7 days, like we're good.
Oh yeah.
How we played 8 or they like restart an inning where the pitcher comes back in after only getting 2 outs in the second.
That's what happened last year.
I remember that with Musgrove.
Yeah.
What do you got, bro?
According to the MLB app, the game on Friday is the MLB TV free game of the day.
Game of the day.
I
love that.
Can't wait. Game of the day, bro.
Will you go quad box on Friday and spread around the Cactus League action on your television?
What else do we have on Friday?
There's 4 Cactus League games, obviously.
So all of them?
I mean, I don't know. Is that all the Cactus League teams? There's more than 8.
Cubs Dodgers are tomorrow at noon.
Oh, wow. That's because they're playing in Korea or excuse me,
here
in Japan.
Are the games on Friday, all right? Padres Mariners, the big matchup there in Peoria. Kyle Burgert on the mound for the Padres. Then we have the Rays and Yankees. Ooh, this is a good one. Then we have the Red Sox and the Huskies.
What? What Huskies?
What do you mean, what Huskies?
I mean, what Huskies?
It says right here, Red Sox and Huskies.
Do you know what Huskies?
I don't know.
Is that an expansion team?
Hold on. I'm looking at the preview.
Yeah, who are the Huskies?
No, he's all right.
Yeah, who are they, though?
I don't know.
Okay.
The NUE Huskies? NEU Huskies?
Northeastern, I bet.
Yeah, it's a college, probably.
Yep. Okay.
And then you got Cubs and Dodgers again. Game 2 of their big series. And then we got Royals and Rangers. And we got Rockies and D-backs.
Here's a serious question. Do you think there's anyone
Yes, I really
that
do.
watches every inning of every spring training game that's available? Like if the Padres play 26 games on Padres.tv, it's actually 20, I think, this year. But there's a couple others maybe on other like locations, right? You watch it through Dodgers or something. Do you think someone watches every inning of every spring training game?
100% yes.
Other than Ben Fadden, I mean.
Oh.
Yes. Retired people. They have nothing better to do.
Again, I always get excited.
No, guarantee. Padres have a great fan base. Dying for baseball.
I know.
Every single inning will be watched by a ton of fans.
Will you watch every inning of every spring training game?
That's not the question. That's not a no. Yeah.
Will you watch every inning on Friday? Listen, I'm putting this thing on Friday, and I'm excited for it. But I know this always happens to me. It's like you get to the 4th inning, I'm like,
oh yeah, it's the second the starters are out, and who knows if the starters are even in?
Well, they're not on the mound.
You're not excited for Kyle Burgert?
I will. I'll be excited.
The Berg dog.
Kevin Acee will join us on Friday after that game. We'll hear from Mike Schill presumably after that game as well. A little bit of like a spring training wrap-up show edition of Jon and Jim on Friday.
A little bit, yeah.
Right? Because that game's going to end at 2-something. It starts at noon. It's not going to be long.
Could end sooner. It could be
under 2-hour game.
Maybe.
Could.
You could just call it. Because nobody wants like a 3-hour spring training.
Nobody needs that.
Like, can we just end this right now, please?
Right, exactly.
Like, the faster these games get over with, the better for everybody involved.
We've got you covered. Friday, spring training opener, Padres and Mariners. All right, we're going to switch gears. Sean Cole is the head coach at San Diego State with their baseball program. They've got the 10th installment of the Tony Gwynn Legacy Tournament coming up this weekend. We'll catch up with Sean Cole, San Diego State's baseball coach, coming up next on Jon and Jim.
All right, this update's brought to you by Staples Stores. San Diego State basketball last night beat up Fresno State 83-60, led by 19 points from Nick Boyd. Next up, the Aztecs will take on Utah State this Saturday night on the road, 5 p.m. tip, 4 p.m. pregame. Listen right here on your home of the Aztecs, San Diego Sports 760. Your local Staples has hot deals and super low prices throughout the store on everything for your business. And right now at Staples, save up to $250 off your print order. Exclusions do apply. Visit staples.com/print for details. Ends April 5th. Plus, save even more with the Easy Rewards program at Staples.
All right, the Tony Gwynn legacy. We've had that before right here on San Diego Sports 760. Really a cool baseball tournament at San Diego State. We've got Sean Cole, second-year head coach at San Diego State, with us right now on Jon and Jim. The home opener is tomorrow night for San Diego State. This will be against Seattle at Tony Gwynn Stadium, part of the Legacy Tournament. The Aztecs have already played 4 games. Beat UC San Diego and La Jolla last night, 10-7. They've beaten Seton Hall. I think it scored 16 runs in their opener last weekend in Arizona. Great to have Sean Cole back with us here, Jon and Jim, San Diego Sports 760. Let's just start with this weekend, Sean, because I know this is kind of a marquee event, right, for your program, honoring the legacy of Tony Gwynn with this event in San Diego. And thanks for hopping on.
Yeah, thanks for having me. This weekend's exciting. We're bringing in a lot of different teams to come in and compete, and just adding the dynamics of honoring the Gwynn family and carrying Tony's legacy forward is a special thing for me personally and for the program in San Diego State.
Yeah, I was just going to go, like, what does this mean to you to be coaching, his alma mater in a tournament named after him at San Diego State?
It's an honor. Right now I'm wearing a Tony Gwynn Legacy Tournament hoodie. So yeah, to be a part of that, and then also to have the relationships that have been created with Chris and Alicia and Junior and Anisha. I mean, that's just an added bonus to my job to be able to facilitate this tournament and carry it forward from the previous coaches that were here.
Sean Cole is with us, San Diego State's head baseball coach. Tell us a little bit about your team. Again, off to a 2-2 start, the wins over Seton Hall and UC San Diego. I know you're relatively young. You've got a lot of newcomers. You have 17 or so true freshmen. Tell us about this 2025 baseball team.
Yeah, young group. Started off in Arizona in the MLB tournament, which was a great experience for them to play against really good competition. There were good crowds out there, and then to get a taste of what it's like to play in a spring training stadium, major league stadium, is always good for these young guys. Our offense has started off fairly well. Defense has been pretty clean too, and we just got to tighten some things up on the mound. And I think this group is going to surprise a lot of people this year.
Talk about your journey, being at San Diego State to now being the head coach of the baseball team.
Yeah, it's. I think in some ways it gave me a little bit of an advantage. I got a little insight into the program early on as a pitching coach and working under Coach Martinez and getting a feel for the roster and really what was working for us and some things that maybe I would change or improve. So gave me a little bit of a leg up transitioning into the head coaching job.
So you've got a couple of preseason all Mountain West selections, right? A starting pitcher, Omar Serrano, a shortstop, Finley Bates. What can you tell us about some of these preseason performers that you're expecting to have good and big years for you?
Omar Serrano's been in the program now for 4 years. He's done really well on the weekend for us. He actually had an opportunity to sign professionally last year and passed on that to come back and anchor our weekend rotation on Friday nights. So that gives me a little bit of a calm going into the weekend and a little less stress, just knowing what I have with Omar. And I expect him to do big things for the program and set the tone on the weekends for us. And then Finley Bates, he had a really good freshman year, freshman player of the year in the Mountain West. And I tell him all the time that he's Willie Bloomquist. He's just, his baseball IQ is through the roof, and he's a extension of the coaching staff, and you need that in the shortstop position. So I really look forward to watching him take another step forward this year and really become a leader on this team and set the table for our lineup being in the leadoff role.
What's your take on the Mountain West as a whole this year?
That's a good question. Year to year now, things are a lot different with the portal and teams changing their rosters, and you don't really know until you're playing against your competition what changes they made out of the portal. And it seemed like last year a lot of the teams were really old, at least some of the better teams, San Jose State, Air Force, Fresno. They had guys that had been on their rosters for a long time with the COVID hangovers, and they were just older guys. And a lot of those players graduated last year and moved on. So I'm curious to see what some of these rosters look like. I feel like we were one of the only teams in the conference last year that were playing a lot of true freshmen. So I'm real interested to see how that shakes out into the conference play.
San Diego State baseball coach Sean Cole with us right now, Jon and Jim, San Diego Sports 760. I feel as if with most college sports, these are unique times, obviously, with portal and NIL. Now with baseball, there's always the added components as well, right? Because you have prep players going to the Major League Baseball draft. You could leave for the draft as well once you get in college after, I believe, your third year. So you got the draft component, you have the NIL and portal component. What's it like being a head coach of a college baseball program right now?
There's a lot of moving pieces. And, traditionally, I think in the past, you could really bring in some high school guys and grow them and build a culture and build your roster around that. And now that's just changing and evolving every year. And like you said, with the draft, guys are leaving, the portal, guys are coming and going. And so it just makes you a little more hypersensitive to how do we quickly build that camaraderie within the group. It actually made me change some of the dynamics this year and realize like we need to probably do a little bit more away from the field with these guys to get them acclimated with each other. And that way they get to know each other and they feel more comfortable and the clubhouse dynamics change. But yeah, it's a different time in college athletics.
And to build off that answer there, it's your second year as head coach at San Diego State for the baseball team. What's your vision of what you want to accomplish and build here throughout your time, being head coach?
We started that process last year with bringing in a large freshman group, and they got a lot of playing time last year. The vision has been for year one and year two to really set that foundation with a core group of young guys and have some local San Diego guys and let them play together and grow together. And then eventually next year and the year after, start going after some older portal transfers, junior college guys sprinkle in with this group. And hopefully they're pushing us into a regional, super regional Omaha run. We did add a grad transfer at the break to try to get this roster a little bit older. And that's another advantage with the portal is bringing in somebody at the Christmas break that's got some experience under their belt. Really helps enhance our roster, and that's Jonathan Smith, and he had some really big hits for us last weekend.
Final one for me would be just about I don't know if it's the rivalry, but just like the baseball dynamic in San Diego. What's it like? San Diego State, you'll play USD at Tony Gwynn Stadium February 25th, so coming up, within a week. You just played UCSD in La Jolla. What's it like with three Division I baseball programs so closely located to each other?
Well, it definitely makes travel a lot easier.
yeah, exactly.
But it's a rich history between, especially University of San Diego and San Diego State, with the amount of players that have come through here and the amount of games we've played against each other. And then UCSD obviously doing what they did last year. They had a really good season, and now being a Division I program, I like it. I think it's really cool for the city of San Diego, and there's a lot of good baseball between the three teams, and it does create a little bit of a rivalry, and we're playing midweeks against each other and playing multiple times. I think it's a really neat thing for the city of San Diego.
Home opener for the Aztecs at Tony Gwynn Stadium, part of the Tony Gwynn legacy, is tomorrow at 6 p.m. Aztecs and Seattle. They'll play all weekend long. Utah is going to be here. UC Santa Barbara. So you got a lot of opportunities to see the Aztecs this weekend and moving forward. Sean Cole, in year number 2 as the head coach at SDSU. Coach, we appreciate you taking time. Best of luck this weekend and throughout the course of the season. And thanks for hopping on.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you. Go Aztecs.
All right, great stuff from Sean Cole, who was a longtime pitching coach, I think, at the University of Arizona, or coached a long time at the University of Arizona, now over here at SDSU. Of course, the Pac-12 is coming for the Aztecs baseball program as well. I think that's advantageous. You're playing at elevation in baseball. That gets challenging.
And now, isn't our buddy Mike Farron going to be calling a game on Sunday?
He actually, it was last Sunday.
Oh,
he called their game last Sunday, which was against, I think, a top 25 caliber team, Nebraska.
I knew he was calling.
He did
recently.
Yep, he called it a game. Nebraska's ranked, and San Diego State lost that game. But yeah, he called that game on Sunday. All right, you're here, which means we'll have the back page.
I'm here unless I leave.
No, you're gonna stick around, right?
Well,
you should. You should.
Maybe. Yeah. Should I stay?
You really should.
I know you've been waiting for my back page all day.
Do you have a lot that's like building up for this moment?
Got a couple things.
Do you have anything planned as of now?
The meteor possibilities are up to 4% now.
It's going to be like 70% by the end of the week.
Yeah, 3 weeks from now. Yeah, it's going to be like 100%.
It's like a 99.9% chance this meteor is going to ruin everything. You said a city destroyer.
Correct.
But again, one city. How big is the city? Small city, mid-size, big?
Yeah, we talking
what continent?
We talking Dubuque or LA?
There's a big difference.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to hit in somewhere in Boise, or is it going to hit
exactly
someplace in Rhode Island?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
All right. Well, Jim's back page
is
is on the other
100,000
side.
people or 5 million
We
people.
have years on this, right?
2032.
We're fine.
We got time to crunch the numbers.
We got bracketology between now and then.
Well, don't worry, because I think if the percent chance of it hitting Earth skyrocketed to like 50%, there would be actions taken to veer it off course.
Such as?
Bro, Armageddon.
Throw a Nerf ball at it?
No. But there recently was
throw a turbo football at it.
There recently was a test of an asteroid that we sent rockets to see if we could get this asteroid off its course. And guess what?
Did it work?
It worked.
Well, that's what they're telling us.
True.
All right, Jim's back page coming up next. Stay with us, Jon and Jim. Hey, let's do 8 updates.
Hey,
for an entire show, and let's not mention the fact that the Lakers are on tonight with Luka. Like the biggest story in the history of the NBA,
and they're facing against the Hornets. They're facing off against the Hornets,
and it's like the game
And
of
his
the
limits restriction's been lifted.
Lakers Hornets goes back. The trade didn't come to fruition.
Yeah, that's the funny thing about it is, they traded for Mark Williams, and then he goes on and fails his physical, so the trade is nullified. They send Connect and everyone back. But guess who's playing against the Lakers tonight? Mark Williams. He failed his physical, but he's still playing.
Mark Williams revenge game,
dude.
Yep.
7:00 tonight or pregame what? 6:50?
6:45.
6:45, Jim. Put it in your next update.
Okay.
I promise it'll be in there tomorrow. Last night, the Lakers beat the Hornets 101-81 behind 60 from Luka. I mean, that was a really big story. Right? I told Jim at a break, I'm like, I don't feel like Luka has gotten the hype since the trade. It's like, well, he hasn't played because
I didn't say that.
Break. Well, you basically were like, well, they haven't played. There's been an All-Star break.
Yeah. He's only played 2 games.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you feel like it's as big of a story as it was when he was traded?
Yeah. Once he's back to 100%, it will be a huge story. You're the one that's saying it's not a huge story.
Yeah.
I asked you. You said it's because they haven't played. That's what you said.
Oh,
once he puts up 40,
when you were scrolling TikTok, that's what you said.
Oh, I wasn't listening.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, once he puts up like a 40-point
TikTok.
game, everyone will go nuts again.
Yeah, when he says a triple double, he has 40 points.
Okay, I guess so. Well, you can listen tonight.
Okay,
right here on San Diego Sports 760. All right,
I'm glad we let everyone know that.
Yeah, it was great.
It was in my updates.
Oh, it's great, Brent.
Went in your head.
No, in the Fletch zone.
Oh, I got you.
From noon to 2.
Gotcha. All right, let's get to it.
Could any human cough more than me today?
No. Go to the ER.
Probably someone like smoked heaters for 60 consecutive years.
I sound like I've smoked cigarettes for my entire life.
But you haven't.
I've not smoked one.
You're not gravelly enough.
Just sick.
We'll start with this. Starbucks officially has brought back their free refills for customers.
Okay.
Offering a complimentary second round of hot or iced coffee or tea at its Starbucks locations. Here's how it works. Guests must order any drink for here, meaning their beverage, whether a latte, frappuccino, or brewed coffee, is served in a mug, glass, or clean reusable cup from home. Once finished, they can request a free refill of hot or iced brewed coffee or tea before leaving.
That's a lot of caffeine, right? Go back-to-back cups of coffee.
Have you met my wife?
It makes sense, though.
I have.
Because otherwise, what's stopping Jim from going in there, buying the coffee, and then he drinks it, and then you walk back in with his cup and then refill it.
It's not like you can order 2 frappuccinos back to back and get one of them for free, though.
Gotcha.
Like, if you order a frappuccino and then you ask for that free coffee, it's just like a iced or hot.
Okay, I got
cold brew.
Yeah, I got you.
Or you can order a tea. So
does it encourage people to stay in the stores?
Yeah, probably.
And that's okay.
I guess
they'll sell more $7 muffins that way.
Right. Maybe.
Yeah. Dairy Queen, John, is giving away free cones on March 20th.
For National Cone Day?
Nope. It's the first day of spring. Get it right. Come on.
That's right.
Free cones for all customers on March 20th, as it is the first day of spring. As part of the annual tradition, participating Dairy Queen's location will offer free complimentary soft serve cones.
March 20th.
March 20th.
All locations? Or just Ireland?
No, just Jamaica. This limited time offer is available for one day only, making it the perfect opportunity to enjoy a classic DQ treat at no cost.
That's pretty cool.
And there's no it's like free Slurpee day at 7-Eleven.
Exactly.
You just walk in, get a Slurpee.
And that's
Dairy Queen, you just walk up, get a free cone. You don't have to buy something or whatever.
All right. Kick off spring with some DQ.
Correct.
In a month.
Yes. And finally, Krispy Kreme has just dropped one of its most exciting collaborations of the year. And pistachio lovers will love it, as Krispy Kreme is releasing a new pistachio donut. This exclusive donut is filled with luscious pistachio mousse, dipped in pistachio's signature spread, and finished with candied pistachios and a drizzle of white chocolate. It's the ultimate pistachio experience.
Are you a pistachio guy?
Not really.
Yes, I like pistachio.
Oh, that's interesting that Brent would say yes, isn't it?
Why?
Brent's
It's not
the
a
most-
vegetable.
Yeah, you're pretty plain though when it comes to food, aren't you?
I'm kind of, yeah.
No, I'm talking to Brent.
Oh, Brent. Yeah.
Yeah.
Very, very plain.
Yeah, but it's just they're pistachios. It's not like it's
Right. I got you.
some exotic,
Yeah.
thing.
Okay.
Should I read the rest of the story?
Yeah.
'Cause-
Do it.
All right.
Yeah.
You're going to call me an idiot.
I want to hear it.
Here's the catch.
Okay. You had to do it in 2022.
No. It will only be available for 2 weeks.
In Brazil.
Oh my god.
And you'll find these at the Krispy Kreme store locations in South Wales, Victoria, or Queensland.
So in the UK.
See, that's the problem. I don't read the rest. I don't read the stories.
No, I almost wonder. Hear me out for a second. I almost wonder, would it be better if before you did the back page,
read it.
you had read it?
I have one though that it's actually you can do.
Okay.
All right.
Let's hear.
Dave's Hot Chicken is giving away free slushies until tomorrow.
That's what you missed when you were gone.
Did we get them here?
Yeah, we had Dave's Hot Chicken in
Very
one day.
cool.
It was
Very
awesome.
cool.
Dave's Hot Chicken is
They even
treating
brought
customers
cauliflower.
at all U.S. participating locations, so here in the U.S., to a complimentary slusher by simply scanning the Dave's Hot Chicken app at the register during their in-store visit. The promotion is limited to one slusher per person.
And this is tonight. Or this is through tomorrow or
Through tomorrow.
through tomorrow. Dave's Hot Chicken.
Yeah.
This is free.
Free, baby. But you have to have the app.
You gotta have the app.
Yeah. And then you download the app, scan the QR code at the front desk. Boom. Free slusher. How you done?
Did you guys have some of that? So did you hit it up? Was it good?
Dude, it's
Yeah.
Really good.
you would have liked it because it's
Yeah.
actually
Cauliflower.
chicken.
Yeah, they had
fried cauliflower.
yeah.
I love fried cauliflower.
Yeah.
That's great.
I had some earlier today.
No, you didn't.
No, I did.
Really?
Not
It
from
was funny-
Dave's,
it was
but I
funny
had
'cause
fried
they-
cauliflower.
They had to put signs on it to make sure, like, you know how the leftovers always get put in the break room.
Mm.
They had to put a sign next to it so nobody was like, "Ooh, chicken," and then they bit into it, and then it was like cauliflower. So we had to brace people.
That
it was
is
pretty funny.
hilarious. That's hilarious.
Yeah, it was pretty good.
Yeah, I did it when I got my haircut. Nothing says after a haircut celebrate with some cauliflower for lunch.
Where'd you go get your haircut?
Salana Barber.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. And then I went to.
Did you get it cut
Sweet
so that it wouldn't
Green.
match your mug shot for your traffic ticket?
How much does that
We
thing
didn't
cost?
touch on it. It doesn't say because there's got to be like a summons issued by like a judge to determine like what I owe. I know. I'm freaking out about it.
Of course you are. By the way, Fletch is completely wrong on this. You deserve
He
the ticket.
says I definitely don't deserve a ticket. I may fight it now, and I'll have Fletch as my defense attorney.
Well, you're going to lose.
Yeah.
I barely went through this thing.
You saw it, Brent, right?
Yes.
Yeah, he deserved the
I
ticket.
was going
Yeah,
13.
Doesn't matter.
You deserve the ticket. I'm sorry.
You know, almost only counts in horseshoes and
I-
hand grenades.
I stopped by hitting the curb. The curb slowed me down.
No, the curb
By the
stopped
way,
you.
If not for
Correct.
the camera, they never would have known.
If you need the curb, you're going right through that thing, baby.
Yeah, but if they didn't have a camera there that was spying on me,
Yeah, but that'd be like saying, "Oh, I never would have got that DUI if they didn't pull me over."
well, there's
Yeah.
certain things. It's like, I don't know.
You're busted.
I didn't get in an accident,
Jones is gonna grow up fatherless.
dude. I was freaking out last night about it.
Yeah, I know.
You're so freaking out.
You're gonna have to move to like Brazil and start an underground. Like,
I'm gonna start a Chargers fan club for that opener on September 5th.
I was trying to go with the plot of like Fast and Furious 5.
Yeah, I'm going 13 in Brazil.
Yeah,
Turning
Just-
right on
Just talk
red.
about family and drink
Yeah.
Coronas.
and then you have to like race people on
Do you
like
think-
the strip.
Do you think I should pay the fine or should I just go on the run straight to Brazil?
Never pay the fine. Be a man.
I'd end up in jail, I think,
You would.
and I
Yeah,
would
you could
freak
warrant.
out in jail. All right,
You wouldn't last 2 days.
I wouldn't last 2 hours.
You wouldn't last 2 minutes.
I wouldn't. I don't last out of jail. All right. If you missed anything today, stop coughing.
I can't.
If you missed anything today, you missed Jim coughing. SportsSD.com, iHeartRadio app, iTunes, TuneIn Radio, or Spotify. We're back tomorrow at 2, we believe. And yeah, that's all I would have to say about that. All right, keep it right here. Brian Dutcher Show is tomorrow at 6 p.m. For Brent and Jim, I'm John. Keep it here at San Diego Sports 760.
Okay.
Bye. Cough.